I got that. Yeah, heard them call me conscious. I ain't think about it honestly. My thoughts too deep to process, so I do this all unconsciously. Finally feeling God bless. Got 'em woke up dropping prophecy. Don't take it out of context. Just before, I swear they always sleep. Now they catch the message, yeah. Bet that every song is deep. It's levels in each concept. But I can't just never mono theme. I'm trying to lead this flock for the cause, not the following. People upon a partner, and I wonder why they drawn to me. Once upon a time, I thought to follow up a dream. Draw life about these lines, nothing twice about these schemes, and like thrice about these insights. What I write is like a blueprint for you to comprehend life. That's light, I reckon, make you shine. Never dim it down, even if you live surrounded where everybody vision clouded. Remember, staying down ain't quite as good as getting out. It said, remember, staying down ain't quite as, ay. If you believe, yeah. Many doubted it was hard for them to think. Somehow I'm finally getting out of that's it. Usually, yeah, they vision clouded, but as you can see by now, we finally getting out there, writing truth, spreading love. Tell me how you feel about it. Got this music from above, that's how I know I'm getting out there, writing truth, spreading love. Tell me how you feel about it. Got this music from above, that's how I.
Like, we should record it anyway, and then we don't want to use it. I mean, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
No, I feel you. But I already know my thoughts are all over the place with this because I haven't dug the way I normally dig on stuff that I start going down. But I just
Something's fishy.
Gee, come on, bro. Like, you know what's so funny is it's kind of been whatever. I thought we already kind of had this thing figured out, oh man, look at the numerology surrounding it. Look at the gematria surrounding it. This is a whole theatered event. Like, I mean, not that I knew like was, what the necessary purpose was. Was this legit because of the vaccine? Was this just another, I mean, I'm thinking a bunch of things, but ultimately I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't even have time to put too much brain power into this. We know what we know, and we'll see how this plays out, I never thought about the other layer. I never even went, I didn't go there. I normally
so what layer are you, I don't know what you're referring to here.
So
this is what's new to me.
Yeah, so exactly. New to me too.
You said you texted me something about the other layer. I still don't know what you mean by that.
The rabbit hole of, wait a second, what's going on here? Like, why is this dude being sheltered and shielded the way that he is? Like, okay, so
you mean on camera, or I mean, dude, I've heard so much. I've heard FBI agents were at his hospital.
Was at the hospital. It wasn't just FBI.
This is all hearsay. This is all hearsay. You got to keep that in mind.
It's certain parts of it is hearsay. What's not hearsay is what we clearly can see. Okay,
no, you're right.
And
you're
what
right.
we clearly can see is a man not allowed to show his face. Every photograph,
it is odd.
or recording
and
of this man has
zero clear shot of his face. These are notes that somebody else took, but it was perfect for what we wanted to talk about.
Right.
It's a guy replying to the little video of him in that like four-wheeler, in the tunnel or whatever, and it's like zero clear shot of his face at any point. Someone who had heavy CPR usually has broken ribs, and he's just waving his arms up and down. He's on oxygen.
In a dark shot.
Like it.
And he's supposed to be on oxygen.
Him running around the stadium.
Why? Great question.
But so here's my take.
And most of the questions.
This is the one take I haven't heard yet, but I'll let you get into it because my take is actually pretty simple, honestly.
Okay.
Why are they making it so obvious? I mean, the Illuminati sign. I mean, it's like they're trying to troll the conspiracy theorists, dog. I feel like this is the one where
almost.
I feel like this is the one where he's gonna pop up. It's just gonna be really Damar Hamlin. It's just a legit I
They
don't know,
could.
man. That's what I'm saying. Like they could
Listen.
really just be trolling the whole
They
conspiracy
could.
community.
They could. But here's what's
Because they
interesting.
do that. They do that.
Of course they do. Of course they do. But here's what's interesting about this. Because I've been thinking about this too. I've been like, this is different because why the stage was set for all of this. The one person standing up with 3-3. Because at first I was like, maybe this legitimately even caught them off guard because they didn't expect him to just die on the field. So maybe this legitimately.
And then no, I've heard, you know, he actually died on the field and this guy's a clone, which then for him to post the post that he himself
said
posted
clone.
on Twitter
No.
said
But G,
clone.
here we go. I haven't even gotten there yet. Here, so at first I was thinking, okay, well maybe he really actually did die. But then I was like, no. Okay,
but that's troll
they actually
level
had
1,000.
They actually had the whole stage set, so there's no way that they weren't
to the 1,000th degree trolling.
So, but here's the thing, G. Here's the thing. Why? When you ask that question about like about the you know, did he die on the field in the clone thing? But here's the thing: it's like we've seen this before, though. It's not like you can't be, you know, when they asked when because now the folks who are starting to ask these questions are like, well, why, you know, why is his face so covered? Even when he came into the stadium, did you see the video of him coming into the stadium? That was the one of
the 4-wheeler, right?
Well, it wasn't a 4-wheeler, but
it's like a
little, yeah. But so they get him in, they hide
super
him,
golf cart type deal.
Super, yeah. He doesn't. His mother and his brother comes in completely separate, looking very interesting, by the way. But they come in separate, so mom and brother is not associated with him, which is weird. But then, outside of the fact the face is always cut, I mean, every concerted effort of every shot of his, there's never been a clear picture. The one where they had the snow blanking out the face, the one of him throwing up the sign at his apparently his house out the I'm talking the one where it was supposed to be outside of the pool, completely dark. Why would you even look? Then it dawned on me, if this was unsuspected, you know, like caught them off guard and they're trying to cover it up because the vaccine thing, just hear me out here. Okay. It takes time. And this, you know me, I start going down the rabbit hole of some of the sources that I feel that I have that are in direct, at least close to, I'm not going to say direct, close to the cloning stuff as can be, that I feel that I have found so far. And one of the things you got to remember is that these clones grow fast, but they don't grow fast enough yet. They still haven't been able to have them like grow in 30 days. I mean, it still takes some time. Then you got to go through the process of conscious transfer and all of that other stuff. It takes a little bit of time, even though it's a lot faster than the human cycle of becoming an adult. But it reminded me of like, okay, so why is the body double in there? Because that's
hold on. Pause.
Okay.
Pause. Now I'm not stopping you. Just pause. Pause that thought.
Okay.
There's a lot there. There's a lot there that you just kind of glazed over there.
No, because I'm trying to get to a point.
Let me just take your word for it, okay? But
okay,
there's a lot of taking your word right there, because I mean,
well, nobody's taking anybody's word. First and foremost, I'm asking the same questions that a lot of people have started to ask now, because
I'm open-minded to cloning. It's one of the few conspiracy topics that I have not looked into.
Whether it's cloning or not, whether it's he died because of the vaccine, or it's this ritualistic stunt that brings in the new age of singularity, which there's been some talk about how this is actually, and somebody pointed out an Elon Musk tweet that he made with just one exclamation point that sort of centered around what the year, because every year is a theme for them, and this year is supposed to be the year of singularity, right? This is supposed to be the year where the movie Singularity is actually kind of really coming in a clear picture there. And I don't know which branch on the tree this is, G. That's why I said I don't want this to be a pod. I'm trying to work through this too now. And, you know, sometimes that could take forever. I mean, some of these pieces don't really.
But that's the best material, in my opinion.
No. I agree, but like you said, this could be a troll too. But here's why I don't think it is.
Okay.
Geometria still brings us back to whatever happened on that field, and the numbers and the patterns and the 3-3 being the only ones standing up, and just the whole process.
So who's your gematria people picking to win it all? Sorry to interrupt again, but I'm quite curious about this one.
I haven't even been diving into that though. Okay, I can go look at Zach's shit and figure it all out and put money on it. I don't even care. It's too easy.
I feel like the way they got it set up this year, it could go a lot of different ways.
It could.
And it would still work out for them.
I mean, it always works out for them, but I'm not even where I'm going with this thing is this Hamlin thing. This Hamlin thing is interesting, okay? Because
no doubt.
Because
first of all, I'm gonna let you talk. Go ahead.
Because first of all, now, of course, somebody else would be like, "What are you talking about? Like the event on the field is what's making the situation seem like such a martyr." But it's kind of like, listen, there's a little bit, there's different here, okay? Yes, and I know, like you said, there's been some, you know, it's speculation, but you got to look at where some of this speculation is coming from, the root of it. There are always, and lately I've noticed from 2020, not that there can't be bots too, I understand that, but there always seems to be nurses and doctors, mainly more so nurses than the doctors, but that are the ones that end up telling these stories, because most of these stories end at a hospital, right? Like, even if we go back to the Sandy Hook stuff, if we go back to they usually end, all these disasters end with something having to happen, people having to go to the hospital. And then what happens is these nurses that work there end up realizing something is wrong here, because either nobody came here or they know what's really going on and they come out and talk. Right. So that's why the nurses from these places are where I always start at, with at least trying to get insight to, hey, did you at least see somebody come in there? Like, do you know, like, and then there's the whole autopsy, the whole report, you know, when you got to like list, you got to make something official when someone dies. There's that's floating around out there now. I don't know. It could be fake, G, of course. You already know. This goes back to conversations we've had a million times, months and years. First of all, the perfection of how to make things look real now is at a high level. Okay, so who the fuck knows, right? Like, anything can be completely made up and look real, right? But we cannot deny I want to use the right word here. The focus, the singular focus, the attraction of the event. Now, obviously, I understand why, because of the event that happened. Everyone was watching it. It was amazing. It still does not take away all of the subsections that start to bring it back to the tip of the pyramid of right, like from the event that night to how are all of these reports being stated about cardio, and you're on oxygen, he's on ventilation, he can't be doing this. How is he just out doing all of this stuff? Why is it so amped for him to prove that? Like, I went through his Twitter, all of his likes are likes on tweets or people that are saying, like, you know, hey, you know, clone? Are you kidding me? Like, all of that stuff. Then you look at all of the the pages that he's liked. They're all pages that are clearly fake. You can tell, we went through this exercise before about how we can identify fake pages and pages that are bot pages. Bruh, come on now. Like, what? Then the picture that he posted with the clone picture. Bruh, just show your face. What is the what is going on here?
Have you looked?
Why
have
will
you looked
you
recently?
not just shut everybody up and show your face? It's
No,
very
just
simple.
5 hours. Just literally 5 hours ago, he said, "Just give me 1 second here. I'm already there. Thankful for all 7 hours now. Thankful for all the genuine love, thoughts, and prayers from across the world. Y'all will hear from me soon.
Y'all will hear from me
3
soon.
emoji, heart emoji.
Heart emoji, which every time you see the distorted heart emoji picture, it's this, it's not this. Why every time you see a clear picture of his symbol, it's the heart, and every time we see a distorted picture, like the picture that they showed on live TV during the game, where it was all of a sudden very snowy in the screen and we couldn't see, even though the snow had let up a little bit, it's a triangle. G, what I'm saying to you is
James,
that
though, it's
I'm
so
not
funny.
like, listen, no, because we get accused. People like me and the other people that are on Twitter right now, we get accused of just wanting to, like, we just want to have this stuff to show people, hey, I told you, look, blase, blase. I wasn't looking for this. This was brought to my attention. And then, of course, me being me, when I miss something, it actually pisses me off that I might have missed it. So then I start to say, well, goddamn, I'm going to have to do a little digging here. Next thing you know, 2 hours later, I'm like, yo, obviously I've got a lot more to do, but you know how we are, G. You get to a point where, because of where we're at with all of this, you kind of, it's not about the shit that they can lie to me about by making and manipulating images and stuff. Take that out of the equation. It's all of the unnatural ways of trying to hide him, hide his face, hide him. And then I hear people in the comments arguing about, hey, what are you guys talking about? Since when does somebody, like, leave people to be at peace and leave people to heal? Why does he have to do this and why does he have to do that? Motherfucker, he was just at the game. What you mean?
No, you're right.
He went to the game. What are we talking about? Just hop on, bruh. We can shut all of this up and we can make me look dumb and everybody else look dumb. Just hop on live real quick, bruh. Just hop on live. Let us know that you good. We all care about you. Prayers up, right? All of that. So let's just hop on live, and let's just get it over with.
But that's my point, James. That's my point. Something
is wrong.
Is more fishy than just regular fishy, because it seems like they're making it obvious. It seems like they're really trying to get at people like you.
Maybe. Maybe, but maybe. I mean, what do you say to this? It's kind of like, oh my God!
But what is fascinating, and this is where I'm the balancing act, right? What is fascinating to me is the response to people like you. Like you talking about, leave people. You're not allowed to ask questions. You're not allowed to ask questions.
Made by mostly bot accounts. People don't understand the epidemic that we're in with bot accounts right now. And Elon tells you, he told you, I need to look at the papers. I need to look at the papers because we know that 70% of Twitter is bots and blah, blah, blah. He told you. He told us that most of the shit is bots. Right. And when you look at the accounts that have you can always tell it's the response or the reaction that would make a normal human.
I'm not even talking about the bots though, James. I'm talking about
even regular people.
The general consent of my cousins. What I mean? I'm talking about
But the
my friends on Instagram, you know
the
what I mean?
general consensus
The
is
general
still
consensus.
the general consensus though, G,
That's
is still
what's even more
ran.
fascinating to me. Like you're like I'm not. First of all, I'm done. I'm done with the conspiracy theorists as far as I'm willing to talk to anybody. I love talking to you because you're an open-minded person. I don't believe in flat Earth, but it's the same phenomena with flat Earth. I don't believe in flat Earth. I don't know what to think about the Damar Hamlin thing. If those are my personal takes, but it is fascinating to see the vitriol and the hatred toward flat earthers and the just
Anybody.
knee-jerk responses to anybody who questions the Damar
anything.
Hamlin shit, which seems so easy and obvious to
The
question.
reason why I harp on the bots, G, is because the bots help create and drive narrative. That's why they are.
I see what you're saying.
When you
Right.
go through comments and there's 200 comments and 100 of those comments are bots
And
driving
then people
narrative,
feel like, oh, I don't want to be.
like I gotta hop on this narrative.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want 200 people hating on me. You know?
That's
why it's a psychological game. Yeah, I get that.
That's why it is important that I always mention that, because we don't realize how much narrative is driven by not bots. But anyway, that's whatever. It's not about like believing or not believing. I don't give a shit what people think about me or believe or vice versa.
No, that's
my point.
Well,
my point is always ask the questions,
right,
and then use critical thinking when it comes down to why you can't get the answer that should be so simple. This should be a very simple, like, let's kill this noise right here. Hey, mama, hey, brother, come sit on the couch with me and let's do a live and let's let the people know that I'm okay. This is not about like all of what people are saying and doing and talking about. That sparked me to drive this question, of course, because I even was just kind of done with it. I was like, well, here we go. I mean, I kind of have my opinion on what happened to him out there, but whatever, like, leave it at that. Hopefully he recovers from it. Hopefully he's well. We'll see how this plays out. I wasn't even looking for there's some other layers here. And this is like a thing. Could be a thing. That's all my thing. And my thing is just asking the question of, bro, why would you waste your time making the picture? You took the time to make the picture of clone, but you can't just hop on a live.
I don't know. I don't claim to have any answers, but something is up. And I'm with you when it comes to why is there such a why is there so much energy and so much I guess energy is really the only word I can come up with. Why is there such a push to, oh, that's conspiracy theory talk? Okay. Why am I not allowed to talk about it?
That's but that's
You're
nothing
a weirdo
new.
now.
That's nothing new. That's nothing new.
No, it's nothing new. It's nothing new, but it's very obvious. It's something up that is very obvious with this shit. Which is what makes it even more fishy to me, and why I think it could just be a gigantic troll. But I mean, I understand where you're coming from.
I mean,
it's a lot going on here.
It's a hell of a troll, and it's not that it couldn't be, obviously, here's what it comes down to me at this point. And I I'm sure I haven't. I try to not even do this that much anymore because it's kind of like whatever. I mean, but I'm sure I'll be looking into some more things. and here's where it's at.
It is interesting to look at. It's interesting to talk about. It's one of the reasons why I started this podcast. I feel like I've got 1,000 reasons why I started it at this point, and some of them I discovered along the way.
Right.
But it's like, this doesn't have to be the topic of every conversation, but it's also fun to have these conversations too. It's like, why? The word conspiracy has gotten to the point where it's almost just funny to me. Like anything that you're not allowed to talk about is just
look at how
conspiracy label on it.
Yeah,
it's like we're talking about normal fucking shit at this point.
look exactly. Like even coming back to the vax, it's like why are you not supposed to be able to talk about an mRNA shot when they tell you literally that that's what it is? I'm
mean,
so
with that
confused.
one, that's the one, Jay. That is the one. That's the
I'm
one
just
where I'll talk about it.
confused at what
Because it's
reality.
not even up for debate in my mind anymore. If there's any gray area like with Damar Hamlin shit, it's like I keep my first of all, one thing you said earlier when you said it's not about believing or not believing, I agree with the sentiment behind what you were saying there
Yeah, because you know what I was
in the
getting at.
context of what you were saying,
Yeah.
but I do place a high value on what we choose to invest our belief in.
No. I was getting at, I
right.
do not get this because everybody wants to make it about, you know.
And so let me finish this thought though.
Go ahead,
And that's why I think it's important to in a situation like, for at least for me, and I know you feel maybe a little differently about it. I think we feel similarly about it though. But like with the Damar Hamlin situation, the fact that there's things I don't know, right? There's things I don't fully understand yet. So it's like I keep my belief on reserve. I might have certain opinions that I don't really want to publicize or make or state it as like that's my opinion, because that could definitely change. It's not like a hard and fast opinion on a lot of conspiratorial stuff. But with the vaccine, I could go on for days about all the evidence and facts and blah 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 blah. But here's the one thing. It's like they changed the definition of a fucking vaccine. They had to change the definition of a vaccine to call this shit a vaccine. That's a fact. That's not a conspiracy. That's a fact. Look it up. They changed the definition of a vaccine so that they could call this injection, mRNA injection, a vaccine.
A lot of stuff that gets labeled as conspiracy is actually fact. Like, what are we talking about? Like, so, and that's it, look, it's just very simple to me. It's either I don't, and like you said, maybe it's a hard troll, but I just don't see how. Like, either this one is really messy, or you really are going to try to pull something after the Super Bowl, because we know nothing's going to happen, nothing dramatic's going to happen before the Super Bowl. But I'm interested to see.
What if something dramatic happens at the Super Bowl?
Maybe it could, but I don't think that.
What if there's another cardiac arrest at the Super Bowl?
It could be. It could be, but let's say let's say whatever.
Not that that's funny. Not that like people's lives are funny, but with it, given the context that we're talking about it, if it's staged, it could be funny.
Listen, all I'm saying is, I'm interested to see how this plays out, because either this is really messy. Because my thing is, if you
that's why I keep my belief on reserve. Because what if
me too? That's
guy
why
really had a cardiac arrest. It's like I feel bad for people that are really fucked up. But at the same time, we should be able to question things and discuss things, especially when they're making certain, like it's like they're trolling conspiracy theorists with the hand sign, the covering up his face, the clone all tweet over them. The threes have been
everywhere.
Over, like I've never really been into like numerology is one thing, but gematria, like the decoding, like you can kind of manipulate that sometimes. I'm not as into that.
But
no, even on.
But when did you
Twitter
start questioning 3 and 6 like that? You know that the coincidence of a motherfucker standing up with 3-3
trending. Damar Hamlin. 33.3K tweets.
Yes, but
what a coincidence!
I don't know when you started even reserve. Like you know that's not a conspiracy. Like 3 and 6 is their numbers, and 9, 3, 3, 6, 6, 8 is their numbers. Well, there's no coincidence that the only guy standing up at the prayer huddle was wearing 3-3. Gee, it's not even about. It's not. Sometimes. Like, what more do people? I don't know what more people need with these rituals. I don't know what like trolling. Okay, maybe call it that then. But you can't just say it's nothing. Nobody can say
no. That's you're getting to something I wanted to get to. You're actually onto something real good right here. At what point do people start to question? What's my role in this ritual?
Well, I think the roles in the ritual is you're on one side. You're on one of the sides. You're on the side that sees, or you're on the side that can't see it. See and can't see. Two sides. Boom. Because they don't give a fuck if you know or not. What you gonna do about it?
You think that's why the eye is
you're gonna go on Twitter and get censored? You're gonna march outside of the White House and get beat up and thrown in prison? I mean, what are you gonna do? You're gonna come on here and do a pod and get a couple thousand listens, and then if you get 1 million, you're gonna get shut down, or they're going to ask you, hey, we'll pay you to come work for us, and you can do all this shit all you want to, as long as you do it within our control, or you can shut the hell up and disappear. You got two options. It's two sides, G. That's and I don't that I
know which side I'm choosing.
I know.
I'm getting the bag, baby. Sign me up, Mr. Illuminati. G.
Bruh, I joke all the time about that. I'm like, yo, I be on here woofing, but let me tell you something. Holla at your boy with the bag. Holla at your boy with the bag, and I'll be on TV with all the symbols, signs, numbers, all the gritty. Hey, G, you see the gritty? G, you see the gritty all the football players do? The main symbol, and it had to be in there. It had to be in there, bro. It's hilarious that people just don't refuse. They'd rather sit there. They'd rather sit there and point at somebody like me and be like, you fool, you weirdo, stay off of YouTube. Stay off blase. That's their role. There you go.
That's their role.
There you go. That's
their role. Their role is to deny what they're trying to make obvious.
In plain sight, G. Literally.
That's why I'm on their side at this point, because it's like they're really trying. They're trying to show you.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I be joking about. Yeah. I be like, who am I really mad at here? Why am I mad at them?
I'm not mad at them. They're hilarious. I'm not even mad at the people that are denying it. But what are
it's kind of like, gee, come on, bro. This is it's not even about like, I know everything's about love, and I get all of that, but sometimes you can't help yourself when stuff like this comes about. It's like you have to dive into this when you can see, you can't unsee. So what are you supposed to do with it? What are you supposed to do with it when it's like just right there in your face? And it's not because I haven't been like using all of my time to dig into a lot of this stuff. I was just like, well, whatever. I mean, I kind of know what happened. I get the gist of what happened. I don't need to dig and do all of this stuff. I get with all the threes and the whole. That was enough for me to know that this was some sort of ritual, whether stage, whether real, whether I don't give a damn what it was. It was something. That's all I need to know. Boom. Okay, good. I didn't dig to get to the layers. The layers just found me because I guess the algorithms just know I would just be so into this. So they just had to find me because it was like, well, you ain't been looking at what we want you to look at, nigga. So we gonna make sure that we. But anyway, I just think it's hilarious. I mean, this dude standing next to the painting with his face again covered is just hilarious. Why? You never used to wear a mask, bruh. I literally went through your Twitter for an hour. You were not wearing mask. Why all of a sudden is you covering up everywhere? Oh my gosh. And if it is a troll, which it might be, okay, cool. But then let's talk about why.
Let's talk
why
about
in the world is the people at the highest
the
level
troll was designed.
But the question to me still comes back to asking people why, even if that's the case, why are people at the highest level? Then the question should be, why are you the people at the highest levels playing games, like playing psychological games with y'all like this? What?
Maybe it's a test.
Because it ain't.
They want real people like us in their club, and they're gonna come to us one day eventually. And
hey
be like,
man, I didn't already told them.
Chill out about the Illuminati talk. Here's what you need. I didn't
already told them in the Scientology building. And I said, look, man, I know y'all recruiting. What's up? Look, there's a few. I was talking about trolling. When I went to that Scientology building in DC, and I went to another one in Philly, boy, I was having fun in there with that whoever that they got a name for them. I don't know what you call them. I'm sure it's a replica of how it works underground. That's a whole nother topic though. But anyway, I was joking with him. I
Lord
said,
Xenu or whatever.
"What you talking about for Scientology?"
Yeah.
They no the people they call they got names for the people that are as they move up ranks in there and they do different work to help the people see. I don't even know all the terms, but all I know is that I was having fun in there trolling them because I was like,
they measure your thetans, right? I remember some shit from South Park.
Yeah, they do a lot. They do a lot of stuff, especially as you move up. But I was in there just trolling with them, and I was like, hey. I was like, hey, man, I know y'all got room in y'all club for more, man. Now, let me tell you what I will tolerate and won't tolerate, because there's still some things I ain't going to tolerate here. You ain't going to be, you know what I'm saying? You ain't going to be shocking me and shit. I don't need the shock treatment, all right? You don't need to be doing that, even though we know you got to do that, technically. That's what they do to Ye every time they send them in. But anyway.
Yeah, where is Ye?
Oh, Ye can't even be found right now. You heard, you saw that, right?
No, I haven't. I literally, I was just thinking about that. I hadn't heard from him in a minute.
And I didn't even want to go into all of that because that's a whole nother rabbit hole, bro. But yeah, they talking about they ain't heard or seen from Ye. And anyway, I'm sure we'll be talking about that soon enough. But yeah, I don't know where Ye's at. And even when we do,
he didn't shut his mouth, man. Once you're in, you gotta shut your mouth. When you're on the outside, you can still talk about it.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point, man, who knows if
I ever completely stop talking about the Illuminati, that means I got my bag, guys.
No, not necessarily though, G, because sometimes they want you to continue doing what you're doing.
True. Yeah, no, they gotta. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of people. I mean, come on now.
And then, angle it differently,
Jones.
right?
You really think they just letting Alex just get away with murder here? No, Alex is whatever deal he worked out, whatever. I ain't judging nobody because I already told you. Show me shit.
Yeah, no, right?
Where's my bag? I mean,
right.
I mean. Y'all niggas recruiting like the army? I mean, what's up? Nah, but I'm just saying. I'm
laughing. Well, ultimately, though, I really do feel like I'm on the indigenous team.
I know, G. I know. But I have a feeling if we ever really got to go down that elevator, that skit that was on B.O.B.'s joint, if we ever got to go down that elevator, I have a feeling that I have a feeling that we would just learn that the whole damn thing is just written. It's written by story writers. I mean, the whole thing. The whole thing is written by. But and who knows? Obviously, I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm talking about more.
I
don't even mean like racially or ethnically. I mean like lifestyle wise.
Oh yeah. No, I know. Yeah.
Right.
I got you. Yeah. Because obviously, regardless of what story or script they've written, when you, and I'm sure you can contest to this more.
One of the most simple breakdowns I've ever heard. Sorry to interrupt you, but this is such a perfect simple breakdown. Is our culture, European culture, whatever, however you want to describe that. Our culture believes that the world was made for man. Indigenous cultures believe that man was made for the world.
That ideology alone is what you subscribe to, which I think says a lot. And no, absolutely. Look, man, this whole conversation starts tonight because obviously by the time I circle back with you again, I'm sure there will be a lot more on this because I love those accounts that claim to actually be true clones, like some of the rappers that have come out that are claim, they tell you what their number is and all of this stuff. And I'm sure it's all funny, but let me tell you what I've learned, G, and I know you can contest to this too. I think you can. Usually when you think that what you're experiencing is complete trolling or fake or someone subscribing to it because they're just kind of getting the people to be like, see, that's what you subscribe to. You subscribe to that nonsense. Usually there's a lot of truth in that, you know, and, you know, a lot, what I've learned through the truther community, through all these years is that, and when I say community, I'm not just talking about regular Joe Schmoes. I'm talking about people who have dedicated their life and their work to exposing and bringing people closer to what they feel the truth is. You know, I'll put it that way. But one thing, a lot of good
unheard stories.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Right. But one thing that I've realized is that it be the ones that, for example, I remember when them Island Boys, I don't know if you've seen the jokes about the Island Boys, these light-skinned, tatted up, they're not even rappers. I don't know, they're influencers. I don't know what they are. Usually when they come out of nowhere, they have all of these followings.
Oh, yeah, no,
they start saying stuff. They start saying stuff like, hey, you know, we're clones and we were created in laboratories, blase, and my number is C6358 and his number is 36. Usually that's the stuff that's actually legit because that's the thing. It's supposed to be.
What do they call it? Like the revelation of the method, right? Like they have to tell us the truth.
Literally, so they
always do it in like joking ways
that make it seem like you're dumb enough to actually subscribe to what they're trolling you about. But that's the thing. And that's why when you ask me the question, is this a big troll? My number one reason why I don't think it is because of the scene with their numbers and symbols. They don't troll about that. That's they that's their life. They believe in that. That's their God. Their God is numerology. That's their ritual. So they don't play about that. So no, I don't think it's a troll. And if it is, not even if it is, I'm interested to see how this plays out in the coming weeks and months, because the way that it looks like they've doctored, the way that it looks like this thing is kind of getting. What are you supposed to do? You can't keep hiding his face. What are you going to? What's the plan here? A video? Okay, true, because the technology is good enough where we can sit right here and watch him, and damn, that looked like him to me. You know, if the clone isn't ready yet, what are you going to do then? Look, they never don't have I's dotted and T's crossed, even when we can call them out for being sloppy. It's not necessarily sloppy. It's the devil's in the details, right? So what one person sees, another person will see the same thing and not see it at all. Just like the test that they always float out when they have clothes looking at one color and it goes viral, and they ask people, hey, does that look, what color do you see that as? What color do you see that? These are all case studies, bro. Like these, everybody knows how they operate. These are case studies. You know, and that's the other thing. What you think? They have the information right in hand. You can easily pull up on their supercomputer. What are people saying about this? Oh, people are saying that they expect us to actually, all of a sudden he's going to mysteriously have and I hope not, mysteriously have a death happen, you know, after the Super Bowl or something. They're expecting that. So we know we're not going to do that. So what's the least expected thing here that we can kind of dive into? Look, man,
it seems like, you know, and I'm sorry because this thought just hit me when you were saying that, because it's related. You know, recently NFL rigged was actually trending on Twitter.
I know
several times recently, and it seems like the people are picking up on the pod we did last year. Not specifically that pod, but the general sentiment behind that pod. And even that pod, I've noticed the last month jumping up in views again. It's because of the playoffs, right? And look at the teams that are in it, right? Kansas City, middle of the country, small market team, always been good. But they've been good for a while, right? But still, overall, small market team. Cincinnati, they've sucked literally their entire existence. Joe Burrow has more playoff wins as a Cincinnati Bengal than the Cincinnati Bengals had their entire franchise before him. You got the Eagles, which that's probably the biggest. Well, the Eagles and Niners are both relatively big markets, but a lot of people were thinking Dallas or New York being the gigantic markets that they are.
I knew it wasn't going to be Dallas. I knew it wasn't going to be Dallas. For not because of my I don't like that. It has nothing to do with that. You know, when I when I remove myself from me being a fan of football, because you know, I'm the first to admit I'm still a fan of the game.
Jerry Jones hasn't made enough concessions to the league. I get that. That's why they haven't won the Super Bowl so long.
Yeah, but also the numbers wouldn't have it be them. I know that much. I don't know who's going to win yet. And
so I don't know. I was thinking, part of me was thinking it was going to be Cowboys and Giants, because then the NFC Championship game would be played in AT&T Stadium, which you know they like that place.
Yeah, but gee, with them, it's not about all of that. You know?
No, I know. But it's a lot of, even though they're like the top teams in the league, I thought there would be more upsets. Really, I really thought there would be more.
Yeah, well, look, the league is.
It's a lot of. It's almost like they did it in such a way that they were like, oh, people are starting to think it's rigged. Let's make it look like it's not rigged by having all the top teams, you know, in it, except for the Bills, who everybody was thinking it would be in it because of the Damar Hamlin situation. So it was like they were flipping, you know.
That's
you know what I mean?
Too, with how
people are catching on to that. It's being rigged. Let's just put all the chalk in the Final Four. You know?
Yeah. I you know, that's my other thing too, because there's only, with the Damar Hamlin thing, there's only about 4 to 5 pitchers that everyone, all the bots, all the people that want to point. There's only 5 pitchers people keep pointing to, and one of those pitchers are the pitcher of one of his teammates. I forgot his name. I got to look again. Where he's holding the FaceTime up. Again, not a clear picture of his face, which is hilarious to me. I mean, not even on the phone. Like, what? Why?
But how many? But here, this is another thing. This is another factor in all of this that just baffles me: is are all of the players in on it?
No, they're not. You got to remember, you only need a few. Okay. A, B. Who's in the boule and who's not in the boule? Oops, I forgot. I can't talk about the boule. Let me be quiet now. Moving on.
What is the boule? I don't even know what you mean by that.
The boule. There's a black version of Illuminati.
Oh yeah, I got you.
There's their version too. And
we've talked about that.
The movie,
before.
the show Dear White. If anybody's curious about that, I mean, I don't even know if we're going to post this, but if so. The show Dear White People, which I've brought up a few times, everything's there. So you can go watch that if you want to know about the Black Boule. And obviously that's more of a soap opera way of learning about it, but still, you know, whatever. People don't want to learn things the brash way, so go do it that way. Anyway, there's only you don't have to have everybody in on the G. When you're a pawn, you can still be played on the board. You don't have to necessarily know what the fuck's up. Now, there obviously has to be some people in on this though, and that's what I'm curious about.
It's more than just him. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Now, I'm not talking about the owners and all the people that obviously probably.
Of course, of course.
I'm talking about, you know, I'm talking about the people that were bringing him in, because here's the thing, bro. Like I said, go back to his Twitter. He's not covering his face ever. Now, all of a sudden, everything you do post-COVID, and let's not even go post-COVID, because the NFL and all these sports teams are so deep in on that stuff that, okay, fine. Yeah, you still make people wear your mask. Okay, whatever. At home, you never do that, bro. Why? Nothing is clear on this. Like, it's just so baffling. And it troll, maybe Soji, maybe, but you know what? Then that brings up another question.
But what's fascinating to me is, and I already mentioned this, but it's just blows my fucking mind, dude. Like, I might not totally see things like you do, or as far into what they call conspiracy as you might. But why is what the reactions that people have when you question things like this? I'm open to having this conversation. That's why we're having it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it just blows my fucking mind that it's like, I get being skeptical,
right?
But it's like their denial.
The comments
anything.
Is where I always go to.
But it's not just the comment. It's not even just Twitter, man. It's not. That's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about real life. Your coworkers. It's like,
yes, G, but they're NPCs. The narrative, once the narrative gets created, it gets inputted into the program. And then you have all the people that can't see subscribe to it. Because obviously, if you can't see, you're not going to agree with somebody questioning something like that. You conspiracy gaboon, you weirdo, you freak, you this, whatever they want to. They can't. It's that easy. This is why I keep coming back to this when you say that, because I've seen it play out this way. You'll be in the comments, and I know it's not just about Twitter, but let me tell you how it layers, because it's layered. You go to the comments, you'll see a particular thing that keeps getting echoed by particular profiles. Then you go to the comments of the people where you could tell, okay, this person looks like they clearly is a real person behind this account. They're echoing the same sentiments. Okay, you go to your coworkers at work.
I get that.
You go to your coworkers at work. What are they echoing? They echo the shit that they hear on MSNBC and CNN and Fox and all this other, because it's layered. Layered used to mean television, human. Now it's social media, human. Television is whatever. I mean, that's for old people now. Social media is where the new layering is happening at. And it's even more powerful because you can add visuals.
Customize algorithms.
Customize, yes. And you can add captions to visuals that drive thought. There's so many creative ways that you can make something stick. And that's all you needed to do. Stick, go viral, have a popular person say it, have an artist say, have Stephen A. Smith come on and say something, have a talking piece, Anderson Cooper, whatever. All you need is a narrative created and driven. And then that's it. So
I want to let you ramble about something else, though, because I cut you off a little bit earlier. The cloning thing. Let's just go. I'm not saying it's 100% true. Let's just run with the idea that. Yep.
I mean, because he said it, not me.
Yeah, just because he put it on his Twitter.
Yeah.
The clone thing, and everybody's talking about it.
They're going to say that's a troll. They're going to say he was trolling people who were saying that. Okay, just want to be clear.
I've already said that myself.
Yeah. I just want to put that out there that I understand.
And I want to give you your chance to run with that idea, though.
Run with what? The clone idea?
Run with the idea that he's a clone.
Okay, here's my thought.
Let's just say it is. What are they trying to tell us?
Okay, it's a very good point, because I can't tell. It almost feels like, and I could be wrong here, because I refuse to believe that they're this stupid, because they're not. Like, it almost feels like they fucked up. It almost feels like they're like, fuck, like we weren't prepared for this, and the clone's not going to be ready for another 60 days. I forgot how many days it takes in the incubation tank, and then you got to do the conscious transfer and all that.
Yes, no. This is the part where I was like, pause, because there's a lot there. So what? And I don't, like I said, I've done this. If one of the few conspiracy topics I've done very little research on, except for, and this isn't even research. This was a fucking movie called Self/List, all undercase.
Yeah.
It's a crazy fucking movie.
About it. It's a lot of movies made about it. Yeah,
but yeah. So anyways, that one's not exactly about clones. They try clones and then they realize they can't do it. So they like organically develop. They take actual dead bodies, actually freshly dead bodies, and transfer consciousness from a dying person to the pristine body.
Right. Yeah, but you don't have to. You can do that if the body has been. Excuse me. The human cannot be dead for a certain amount of time for that to work with a live body. You can do it in a clone whenever, because you technically are just they're developing in an incubation tube, and those bitches grow fast too. All right, and
how do you
here,
know this? Where have you read this? This is what I'm curious about. We got to dig a little deeper on
the
this
clone
topic.
the cloning thing for me goes all the way back to my research on Clonaid, okay, which is a live, legitimate facility that existed in Canada. And it was where the first clone, which is why it's so hilarious about conspiracy. It's history that the first clone was created at Clonaid in Canada. I mean, this was like
Human clone?
human clone, bruh.
Just so it's proven. They've done it.
Yes. Like most things are, but they get debunked by after it gets canceled or ended. Oh, like when Obama had to come out and say, hey, that'll never happen here in this country, and I know that it happened in it happened in Canada, but that'll never happen here in America. We won't allow it. Bitch, whatever. You can say whatever you want to. The fact that it was a thing, what makes you think niggas just closed their doors and said, have a nice day? That was it. Like, nope, government has no desire to be interested in this at all. Nah. But anyway, yeah, absolutely. Clonaid. That's where it started. But obviously it leads you places, right?
This is wild. It's blowing my mind a little bit because I've thought about this a little bit before, but what are the implications of that? I mean, that's kind of wild to think about, right?
Well, G, I don't know. That's why I don't want this. I don't know. Like, I don't like, it's like, are you being sloppy here? Or like, did you, or like I said, did that happen on the field and it was legitimately
But this makes me think about shit like people that I knew from us going to school together, and then they went off to school, and we started smoking, and then we run into this person. What if that's a clone?
Oh, yeah, I mean,
years later, like shit like that.
I don't know, man. I like they're among. First,
I think about people that I know like that, especially people that seem to have changed a lot.
Yeah, well, first of all,
I mean, people do
not
change
like
a
you
lot.
can. It's not like
some people do.
No, they do, of course.
But then sometimes it's just weird. You get that weird vibe, like this is not even the same person.
I mean,
you ever gotten that vibe?
Because
when you started talking about that, I like started thinking about some times where I felt like this is almost not even the same person that I'm talking to.
Well, I kind of look at everybody who's plugged in that way because I already know what you have to do to be plugged in, how you have to be microchip, how you have to be cloned. So I think all of them there's a clone of them out there. Now, people like me and you, I mean, what do you think?
Chipped.
What do you?
They chipped me involuntarily.
What you mean?
When I had my feet run over.
Oh, you think they just putting it in people as soon as they have to give them surgery? They could be doing that. I don't know.
Yes.
No, very true. I tell you what thing.
At the minimum, a tracking chip. At the minimum, a tracking chip. I was barely watching the game, but
I was saying to
myself, TV screen when this shit happened.
Yes. And when I saw,
and I was like, that doesn't even look like a heart. Like he really just. And when I saw, did like that,
when I saw the blurred out face. And you got to remember what you can do with those sort of angles, which is why they probably wanted to start this. I can't even. I can go on for days about that. But my point is,
wanting to get into the Illuminati, but if it means that I have to give up my indigenous lifestyle, I'm not doing it. So there's that.
I don't think they would make you, G. I think they would want you. You would get a lot of followers, and you would get to continue to talk your piece. You just would have to flash some signs, probably. You probably would have to do some other thing. I don't know. I mean, look, I think I know I think I know what we would have to do, but we don't. It's just based off of stuff that I've read, and and I do think some of the stuff that I've read that from people who have claimed to actually had been down there, and the people that they saw down there, and the people that I don't care if people don't believe that or think that I'm crazy for believing some of these folks and what they've written. I understand that it is all about in plain sight for them. So
I will say this in defense of regular people. I think a lot of them have these thoughts. And I think the fear of being called crazy, of being
then sit back and shut your mouth Like Minister.
Well, no, but hold on.
Minister
To be
Farrakhan
fair, I
always say
think the people that I'm referring to, I think, are the ones that are at least the most quiet.
Oh no, I'm not talking about the quiet people because we don't know. I don't know quiet people.
You know they're
quiet.
quiet for a reason. They're quiet because something in them is going. Yeah, something's weird.
No, the quiet. But you don't know about the quiet people because the quiet people are quiet. Right. I'm talking about the people that are. You're not even
literally defending the mainstream narrative, literally like being an active participant,
ready to kill you over the narrative.
Right,
that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about
like enthusiastically perpetuating the narrative. Yeah,
I'm
I get you.
Talking about and these are the same people that was going hard with the vax. These are the same people that don't, and it's so funny as their narrative continues to evolve into death. And what I mean by that is, as their narrative is starting to look more and more like they bad, they will go down with that ship, G. They will go down with it. It don't matter how many weird people fall out that are young and healthy from cardiac issues. It don't matter how many people have been associated with cardiac issues over the past couple of years now. We never used to hear about cardiac issues the way that we hear about them now. Every death now is a cardiac issue, except the celebrity ones. Those deaths are still the typical. What's my favorite one? Aneurysms and drug overdoses and all the typical. But that one, the cardiac stuff is like, now you want to talk about trolling? I'm like, damn, are they trolling us with that? Because how can all these people all of a sudden have cardiac issues? Are they trolling us, or is it actually happening? Yeah. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Whether it's trolling or really happening or not happening, who are these people that nobody ever seems to talk about, except us, kind of, that are allowed to psychologically fuck with you like this all the time? Every election season, every disaster, every whether it's a false flag or whether it's a disaster that really does happen. Who knows? I mean, my point is that these questions never. There's so much vitriol, and animosity towards people like me and regular people, just humans, people.
No, versus James, that's what, and again, and I've said this a million times. But that's why I love talking to you, because I mean, yeah, I even get hate, and I'm not even agreeing with you necessarily. I'm just trying to open the conversation. I'm just trying to open the door. I'm just trying to talk about interesting things. These people are so fucking boring, James. That's what I'm saying.
You can at least admit it's an interesting topic.
It's interesting. Let's talk about interesting shit. Let's be real.
Be real.
You know? I mean, and like, I'm not saying that I disagree with you all the time either, because there's a lot of shit where we totally agree. But why are we not? What is up with the? It's an energetic thing too. It's like not even spoken. You can kind of just feel when people feel uncomfortable talking about shit.
A topic, talking about a
specific topic. And then if you're a good person and you're a nice person like I am, it's like you get that vibe from them.
I'm not
gonna like force somebody to talk about something that they're uncomfortable talking about. But why are you uncomfortable talking about real shit? I'm not even saying you got to come to the conclusion that I have, or that you have, or somebody more radical or less radical might have. Why are you afraid to have the conversation about anything that's more interesting than the fucking next Marvel movie?
But that's where,
or what the fuck's on Netflix.
I interestingly enough,
or the game. And still, it's funny to me, and I could actually get into it because it's a language I speak, but I'm still in the back of my mind laughing every time I'm talking about the game as if it's real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when we're talking about like Brady or talking about Mahomes.
No, I know, but it's
funny to me.
I know, but that's one thing. It's interesting because I never really understood what it would feel like to know.
We're all MK Ultra. That's the thing. It's just, are you aware of it or not? And what degree of awareness do you have?
And what are you agreeing to be okay with through the nonsense? I mean, because come on, like I know what time it is, but I'm not going to stop watching the NFL. That's my shit. And I've said that.
It's entertaining. It even, and one thing I actually got into it a little bit near the end of the year because it's like, man, these guys, like Brian said in our podcast, it's like, if you don't know how the magician is doing his trick, it's still a fun
entertaining
show.
to you. Yeah,
it's still a good
exactly.
Show. You know that the magician is casting an illusion. But if it's a good magician, you're still going to pay for the show.
You bring up
because it's still like, holy shit, that was fucking crazy magic trick.
You bring up a great point though, because as someone who does see both lenses, even though I do suppress the word that I used to love so much that they stole from us, the woke lens. I do suppress my third eye when I watch football because I just want to have fun and enjoy the game, But what you just said is exactly when I do have some moments sometimes, like when I saw Patrick Mahomes last year in the playoffs, and I said, bruh, what? Like sometimes it's too obvious because they have to make it. Look, I don't know. My point is that even I sometimes am like, yo, how are they doing this? How is this? Because like you asked earlier, is everyone in on it? And there have been some NFL players that I've studied that ex-players that come out and they've said, kind of like other thing, which I still got to figure out what happened to him. Larry Johnson, like,
no, he's on Instagram, dude. He's on Instagram.
Okay, so he's just not on his shadow
all the time again.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, see, I might have just to hear him. I wonder what he's saying about
that. He's one of the ones that's too far into the conspiracy stuff for me. Don't get me wrong, a lot of this stuff's interesting. I'm not the type of person that's going to say you shouldn't be saying that stuff. The stuff he's saying, I think it should be open to conversation. I disagree with him a lot, even more than you.
Oh, I'm sure you disagree with him more than me because my thing about that is, how are we what about G?
He's got a very negative slant to him. And I understand
that, but I understand. G, let me ask you something. If you know what some of these people know, let's just assume that some of these people that we've studied, you might have heard of them. I've definitely probably studied them. I'm talking about
James.
That shit. What are you really supposed to?
Pause again, real quick, because that's not it. No matter what you say, it's not going to be a good enough excuse for me because that guy's got more money and more time to find content like the 4 Agreements and Toltec Wisdom and to be able to transmute that negative energy that he has experienced and dealt with and is legit. I get that, but rather than legitimize it and spread it as is, you can transmute that energy.
I understand that, not everybody has the gift.
I get it.
And
we all have our role.
Yeah, not everybody can just see or know what he knows and then go and be like, I'm going to go be a Toltec wisdom guy. He might not even. So my thing is that, like you said, we all have our roles. True. But my question to you is, what is someone? Because I was reading the story of Bernie Mac, and I one of the things that really stood out to me about Bernie Mac's story and what happened to him was about him getting ready to expose some of what he just couldn't hide or hold anymore. And one of the main things, there was a lot of things, obviously, because they open you up to everything once you cross over. And one of the main things that bothered him was the cloning was one big thing that he had mentioned to a friend who has really spoke a lot over the years. The second big thing was, I think, a topic that I don't even like to get in on because it's just, too crazy, but not too crazy, but I just mean it's too, but I think where I'm going with the other one.
The pedophilia.
Other one yeah. And for him, he so uh, let's just say, for example, G, that all of that is exactly what it is, and there are people who go, and to get to the other side, you got to see and witness all this stuff and whatever, right? How are you supposed to tell someone? I don't mean you, I'm just talking in general here. How is somebody supposed to tell someone how to handle that? How is someone supposed to tell someone how to transmute that energy? How is somebody supposed to tell somebody how they can, in a world where people are running around worried about what? When you know that this is going on, how some people can't just go and do that so gracefully and beautifully and just say, hey, I'm going to leave it up to and I'm supposed to just be cool with this. And I understand both sides of I understand.
I get it. I get where you're going with that.
Like, it's easy to talk about, look at this guy, like, look at that energy. Wow, what happened to him for him to get like that? Well, we don't know, because
great point.
Because from what I've studied, you've seen some shit to even be plugged in. You've seen and you've done some shit, and we all have. I understand that, but if you only knew. So my point is that how are we supposed to even compartmentalize some of that? Like, how can, so when Larry Johnson is doing Larry Johnson and some of these others, and there's not many of them at this point, because there's not many of them. But when they do get to that level with it, the Kanye level, or and who knows, bro, Ye could be plugged in. I know, I get it. But you can still be plugged in and even get to a point where you're like, oh, they coming for my kids now. I mean, look at what Kim got North doing sometime. I already know what Ye's dealing with. That's why when people are barking to me about Ye, I don't want to hear it. Because regardless, if he decided to do it, if he's part of it, whatever, I bet you that there's a level of regret in there now. I can hear it in him. I can see it in him. And I don't know what the new Ye gonna look like. He might be smiling again and make another secular album for all I know. I don't know. But I just, you bringing that point up about Larry, I understand, like, sometimes we can look at these people and be like, what the hell? But these people have seen some shit, man. No, and I don't know how far Larry.
No, you made, because the point that you made that you're 1,000% right on, is that everybody has a story. But that same reasoning applies to
maybe not that one.
But no, but the same reasoning that you have for why I shouldn't necessarily talk negatively about Larry Johnson is the same reasoning. Well, I get.
I know what you're saying. My bad. Go ahead.
Where you're going with this is that same line of reasoning can be applied to Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah,
Obama.
Absolutely.
Like, all of these people have been traumatized too. That's why they do the things that they do.
But hold up. You make a good point. But here's the difference. G, the rabbit hole runs deep with them folks, man. There's a lot of reconditioning. There's a lot of, and don't even get me started on if they're even actually human, and what I mean by that is, because there's a different conscious level with those folks from how I understand it to be. Okay. They don't have the same type of feeling, and they don't have the same type of, they glitch out a lot, and there's just a lot of problems with it. The models have gotten much better over the years from how I understand it to be, trust me. But I can't group those ones, because those are the ones I think that were kind of born into it. There are people that are on the outside that come into it, and then there are people who literally were born into it, and then they get introduced to the world.
But James, that's almost even worse, man, because you got to think these people have been traumatized from before their memory has even fully developed. to see the world through the eyes of fear, to not trust anybody, that you have to live life this way because otherwise people are gonna take advantage of you and kill you, and it's dog eat dog. And that's why they live that way, because they're scared. And if you're operating in fear, then the way they live actually makes more sense than the indigenous lifestyle. The indigenous lifestyle only works if you're operating out of love.
Out of love, right? Of course. But I understand that, man. It's just hard to the human side of. I just can't even wrap my head around what. I'm not talking about, like I said, the ones that are probably born into this. And I'm not saying that some of those people probably, we see movies about it all the time. They eventually come into conscious and they realize what's going on and they break free. And I get all of that. I'm talking about.
I think that could be happening with this dude in the royal family, Harry or whatever. Something's going on there. Something's going. I mean, I haven't looked into it a lot, but that guy.
One thing I know is that you usually don't know what side someone is on unless they get killed or not. So right. Princess Diana, to me, I know what time it was with Princess Diana. I know what time it was with JFK. With JFK, I know what time it was with some of these other people. Right. But you know, we'll see what happens with Harry. I don't trust the royal family as far as I can fucking sniff.
Same, but some difference going on. Something's going on.
I mean, look, you want to talk about the upside down? I mean, Jay Electronica really did marry a fucking Rothschild. So let's or not married, but did they get married? No, they did dating. So
and I mean, didn't his album literally dropped March 13, 2020?
Yeah,
called The Overwhelming Event.
I know.
I mean, this guy is plugged.
He's plugged, but it ain't like him. And
it's a different kind of plug, though.
It's a different kind of plug because he's actually trying to tell. Listen, who the fuck else is on Jay-Z's payroll and they can't? They're just there. It's almost like he's his handler. I don't mean Jay-Z's Electronica's handler. I mean, it's almost like Electronica's is Jay's handler or something. It baffles me, that dynamic, and I'm very intrigued in that too. I mean, there's just so many things. There's so many interesting things with all of that stuff that just intrigues me. It just naturally intrigues me. I can't help but be intrigued by some of that stuff. But I didn't even mean to get into that. That was just another way of saying, like, what a game they've created. What a game they've created. And we've said this before. I've had moments where we go on for hours and we rant, and then I come to the end of it, and I'm like, gee, what a beautiful yet disgusting and strange and chaotic game that they created. This whole Matrix, this whole thing, you know, and it always comes back to when the people are aiming all this vitriol in the group, in the comments and all this stuff. It's not about whether you believe me or think any. It's not about that. My question is always to these people: are you not tired of this? Are you not tired of any of this? This game of inflation, this game of taxes, this game of how you're forced to live, this game of all of this. It's like, how are you just still not even asking simple questions? I understand those are complex questions, but how are you not even still asking simple questions? And I think these little Hamler things and these other little things that happen in life are these little sub games. You know, these little, you know, like inside of Grand Theft Auto, there's these little games you can play within Grand Theft Auto. These are these little like sub games, kind of. And it's kind of like these are continued case studies and tests that just show me, like, I don't know what it shows me, because half of it is bots anyway, like I said. So whatever, you know, but it still does, like I said, drive and create the narrative that you see a lot in real life. I mean, it really does. It's like NPCs. It's like you see it there, and then you wake up from your phone, and then you're in tune. Now you're in tune with that, you know, or you're in tune with that. I was playing Pro Aero over LT's house, I see where that's going. I get it. I see where it's going. I mean, Ready Player One was as real as a movie as it can get. Ready Player One, yeah, that's the name of it. You know how you're going to, you're literally.
What's Pro Era? I thought that was
Pro
I thought you were
Era
talking...
is the football game that's on the Oculus.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Joey Badass and
Oh
and his
nah,
label for a minute. I got you.
nah.
I was a little confused.
Nah, I don't think so. But I do think it was interesting going back and listening to Joey's album. That song that he got, Joey's new album, okay? The song that he got with Ab, they got a skit on there. Gee, first of all, you got to listen to Joey Badass' new album. It's been out for a little bit, and I've had it on my thing, and I never could find time to get to it. I finally got to it when I was driving over to Maryland over the holidays, and I was like, man. And he got this song with Ab, and Ab is telling the story of like this whole like how they connected, and it's crazy how all of this stuff comes back full circle. Like, but that's such his life, right? Like so much of this stuff. So anyway, I'm sure I'm gonna be going down a rabbit hole tonight. Is all I'm saying. You know me. I think it's gonna be interesting, kind of seeing.
Well, yeah. I mean, I wanted to kind of wrap this up, but whether we publish it or not. But yeah, I mean, to finish this conversation, let's finish right where we started. Like, we explored a lot of different ideas, but what is your current take on what's happening with Damar?
There is always an event that sets the next stage, the next chapter. The chapter ends and the next one begins. There's always an event. 2020 was the basketball game abruptly ending after Kobe, right after Kobe died, and then boom, COVID, right? And this whatever, I don't know. To answer your question, I don't know yet, because as so many people that try to get answers from us immediately as I have to tell them, bro.
Yeah, no, that's why I said your current. That's why I said what's your current take?
We got to see how things play out.
Take, right.
We got to see when things happen on certain dates. We got to see. We got to see what's next. There's so much to how they move.
But I'm asking. I know you're right. You're 100% right. But what I'm asking is, what is your prediction? Speculation. Knowing that it's speculation.
From my understanding,
we're clearly stating this is speculation. What's your speculation?
From my understanding, this is the year of singularity. Okay, Elon basically told us that. So if this is the year of singularity, whatever event, whatever this, let me be more specific with the event. The event has to be an event where most people's eyes are on that event. They got everybody in unison on one thing. Prayers.
That's why I think something could happen for Damar. Super Bowl.
Could. Maybe
something else,
but I think that's too obvious though, because something just happened, which was the show-stopping event. It's always a show-stopping event. The show stops. The basketball game stopped. Show stopped. Football game stopped. Show stopped. Because the world's a stage. So whenever the stage stops, is when it's setting up for something. What that is, I don't know. Singularity. I got to go back and watch the movie again. I gotta dig into some other thing. I don't know, but the show stopped that day. Now, what it sets up for, we'll see soon enough. That's as much as I know. I know it means something though, because the way the show stopped, the show must go on. When the show stops, they want you to pay attention. Kind of in a sense. There are going to be plenty who don't pay attention, but they know. It always has to be a unison. It always has to be something that brings people together. It appears to bring people together. That's when my ears perk up. So yeah, my ears perked up, but I left it at, damn, is this a Vax thing or like what, like, but obviously there's always many more layers to it. So to answer your question right now, all I know is the show stopped, and all I know is there's more to come, because now they see what people are talking about on socials. They see it. They got all the data they need. They see it. So what's your counter to that? Is he going to finally get to take his mask off? Like how it's very bizarre that as someone who's literally sitting on Twitter texting can't just hop on live and just say, I'm here, motherfuckers. I'm good. You know, he's supposed to be on oxygen. I don't see him on oxygen at the game. He's just had his ribs cracked open to get the tube in and all that. How are you flailing your arms around? Why your face always blurry? Why was it not snowing that hard at the time you showed the picture and the screen, the still shot? And even what I saw live on TV at the time, I was not thinking anything outside of it. I just was like, oh, look at Damar in the booth holding up his little sign. It was so blurry. Did you notice that, G?
Yeah,
Because
but
of the snow. I know. Everything was blurry except what?
the sign, the hand sign.
The hand sign.
Yeah. Yeah. No, hey, I know all that, but I'm saying, what do you think is going on? We already talked about all that.
No. My thoughts of what's going on is I don't know. I just know their cadence, and their cadence is the show stopped. So okay, you got our attention. Now what's next? I don't know what that is. It could be anything. It could be another COVID for all I fucking know. Who knows? This is always a surprise. It could be anything. You know that.
Right.
You know, we'll see. All I know is apparently this is the year of singularity. So what does that mean? I don't know. You got half of the goddamn world vaxxed. You coerced everyone to get it. So if you turn on if what I think was in that, because I told you I'm kind of off this placebo thing now. I think I left that behind.
Well,
I don't think that's the case anymore.
I don't know. That's the placebo thing.
We talked about this last time.
We'll talk a little bit more about this another time. But you know where human vibration is, and she's been like the most popular person I've had.
No. We talked about that. That's what I'm saying.
I disagree with her, but
I disagree with that too.
I truly find a balance there. I think that there is a relationship between how each individual's placebo or nocebo effect, you could call it either one because it's the same effect. It's the effect that your belief, your faith has on your body. Right. Mm-hmm. I think there's a relationship between the drugs or the food or the actual molecules you consume and the way that your faith or placebo effect operates. Right. Like I know, for instance, when I took LSD for the first time, or when I took magic mushrooms, that actually changed the way that I believe, the way that I operate.
The name of the movie on Netflix is called Change the Way You Think. The one that's about psychedelics.
Change your mind, yeah.
Change your mind. Yeah, my bad.
Right.
But you
how to change your mind, yeah.
How to change your mind. They always tell you, and it's no different, G, than
but a physical substance that I consumed was the catalyst for that change, which created a new cycle, right? It created a new way of operating, a new way of believing, a new way of thinking, which set a certain placebo effect in motion. So I'm not saying that I don't want to say I'm off the placebo effect or I'm off. No, that's a real phenomenon. Very, very, very real phenomenon. And I actually still think, as far as mainstream culture, it is underemphasized. I think human vibration is more than just overemphasizing it. I mean, she's taken it to an extreme that it's not, the placebo effect is not literally everything.
Right.
It is a large, significant aspect of our health. But the fact that certain drugs in certain organic foods or processed foods can actually tinker with the way that your placebo effect operates, the way your faith operates, that shows that it's not all the placebo. I mean, I guess it is, depending on how you kind of define the placebo effect.
Yeah.
But it's not strictly, you can't not eat food just because you can believe that you can't eat food.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
No, very good point. I think I know exactly what you're saying, and there could be something to that. I just think that um, you know, I think that I think that the fact that we even have to do all of this figuring out and thinking about stuff is what.
well, what your mind is on, you're talking about the vax, right? And I think I remember where you were going with that was when they kind of when they tinker with whatever they put in these people's bodies. Maybe, I mean, maybe there's, I'm just, this is a thought that's kind of new to me. Maybe I'm right, actually. Like both I'm right and HV and you are all right on different levels. It's like, what if what they're putting into us, it's not saline, I think she's wrong on that, but what if that thing is something that is tinkering with the part of our brain that affects our beliefs and affects the
Consciousness.
placebo effect?
It it we, the combination of whatever they have in the skies above us, the foods that we eat, the waters that we drink, calification process.
Control system, cut
It's a
off your
control.
radios, cut off your television.
The frequencies around us. We do not know the effects that all of this combination of things, the power that you can have over
We're
an
the
individual,
experiment.
a mind,
It's
what
in
you
the we're
see,
yeah.
like seriously, like you cannot take that for granted at all, just how many pieces to the puzzle are used to create some sort of effect in whatever way it's happening. I just know that um we've just read it from too many philosophers, too many people who have dedicated their lives to just wanting to talk about these sort of things, the Orwells and everybody else. And I keep going back to Orwell, but there's so many good ones out here who have talked about specifics to things, whether they're calling themselves a whistleblower, whether they're calling themselves old operatives, whatever. I'm under the belief
Confessions
that
of an economic hitman. Is that what you're
yeah,
thinking?
yeah, stuff like that.
Guys like
But
him.
I'm under the belief that regardless, like, and I've seen this be said, it's not like they don't want you to know. They actually want you to know. It's in plain sight. It's how they operate. They don't
Right.
care that you know. They just know that there are going to be plenty who deny it. Doesn't matter. It
Right.
literally does not matter what they see. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how fishy it is, suspicious it is. So to answer your question, gee, I don't know what's exactly going on here. I know that they operate in rituals, they operate in numbers, they operate in symbols. So even when it seems like why would they be using this and why would they be using that? People don't understand just how big the sport of football here is in this country. Like, do people not understand that that is the highest rating thing on television right now, outside of any and everything? The top 25 rated things every year,
It's all
15
football
of them
games.
are football.
No, 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 no. It's not
The
way more than that now,
NFL is
James.
king.
It is literally way more than that. I just saw a stat the other day that like the top 50
Rank
shows or the
ratings
top 50 rated performances of
on
2022,
syndicated television.
47 were
Oh
NFL
wow.
games.
Wow. Yeah.
And three of the other three, one was like the college football championship. The
Yeah.
other two were events that came on after a football game.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
One was like the Olympics during one. It was like
Because
after a Sunday night football game,
that's a very
but
popular
it was
question.
only the Olympics, the segment right after a Sunday night football game.
Yeah. And that's
You know what I'm saying?
it's a very popular question always is why would they use such and such? Who the hell is he? And why would they want to use him to do this or implement? It's God, not. It's so not about that. It's so not about who someone is, or I mean, it is. It is, because there are some. It appears to be some factors that allow them to use certain people a certain way and all that other stuff. But people are asking. Well, I always, what I'm starting to say to that is, you're asking the wrong question, man. You're asking the wrong question. Like, of course,
all right, all right. Well, here's one last idea before we get off here.
Yeah.
One last idea. Do you think this is possibly them trying to? And obviously, this is a far out one, but what if down the next couple months this whole thing unfolds? It is a clone. You think that's all done on purpose to normalize cloning? Or I mean, are they? How are they even going to be able to do that?
How are they going to even be able to do that? That's the question, G.
I mean, that's just seems
the clone thing is already
impossible to normalize.
The clone thing is already out here. It's already out here. It's already amongst us. Whatever. And then next, it's going to be transhumanism, which is where I think I think that's a lot of what the vax has to do with some of this stuff. Now, I could be wrong on that, but I know they tell us they want humans and computers and machines to be one. Okay. Singularity is about that. Okay. Transhumanism. Okay. So whatever it is, going back to what you had said, like, how are they going to introduce this and introduce that? That's when the transhuman thing is coming, because we can't be that far away from that. So I believe that's what's next. But until then, electric cars and eyeballs on your house with Ring and speakers in your home now, and when you ask me the question of how are they going to do that, how have they already done what they've done? They just do it. What you mean? Whoever thought that, you got, like I just said, the Ring cameras and then electric cars is here now, and the car can just shut off on you. People don't understand. Just like what I was saying when everybody wants to kill Trump.
And their attempt to normalize cloning, that one seems even further out.
It's not, G. You raising generations.
I don't mean further out in like in terms of like concepts. I mean in terms of time. Like the cloning, like they're gonna wait to normalize that. Then down the road, when I say far out, I meant more like further down the road, further down the timeline. I think because cloning just seems, I don't know, man. Something weird about that.
But that's what I'm saying. When you ask like how, it's like they're already doing it though. What you mean how? Like they just do it. You make people argue about it. You put things on TV. You put a couple people in power to do this and do that. You put some more estrogen in the water, and
so you think they're just gonna just like? But I'm literally asking like semantics. Like they just release a bunch of clones out into society, or
no?
How do they roll that out?
I think I don't know. I don't know until I know.
That's what's interesting to me.
I don't know until I know.
There's a clone, like if it's already happening, but they're not talking about it.
Yeah, of course. It's I'm sure we have already.
You're right. I think it's probably already happening. But okay, but then how do you disclose?
I mean, we've seen them glitch out and freeze on TV. I mean, come on.
Right.
Al Roker. Right. You want me to name the other 30? Just glitch out, and freeze on TV.
Right.
I mean, now, and like I said, you can't even get into that club without being chipped and cloned. So I mean, we already know that they all have doubles of them. I don't know. Do they sit in tanks all day and suck their thumb? Are they in Earth 2 like Tila Tequila told us 25 years ago when we were kids and we thought that bitch was crazy? They've been telling us stuff forever, G. That's what's so funny about everything being such a goddamn conspiracy. It's like, okay, I mean, like, how are they going to do it? I don't know, G. But guess what? We're going to wake up one day, and that's what the new argument's going to be about. So, how? You just do it. Fuck it. You know what they sit back and say? That we've already heard how Soros thinks about us. There's been recordings about that. Oh, just let the subhumans, because that's how they look at us. Let the subhumans fight. Let them fight over it. Yeah, they'll get over it. They get over everything we tell them to do. Are they wrong? I mean, you can resist. There's always resistance, right? So since I was a kid, before I was even on this side of things, there's always been resistance. History books, I mean, back to the century time, it's always been resistance. They don't care. We're gonna charge you $5 for your eggs, and we're gonna slow your toilet paper supply chain up. Say something else. Say something else. We'll stop your water. Now that's why it's important. And 2020 should have taught a lot of us. You got to get self-sufficient here. But it's ways. So what do you do? And then what did the vaccine coercion teach you, G? Well, I do feel a way about this, but I can't lose my job. I got a family to feed. I got kids. Let me shut my mouth. I got to take this vaccine. Let me go to work, man, because I ain't got time for this. You know what I'm saying? They know what time it is, G. How they going to do it? They just going to do it. What you mean? They're going to cut your water off. They're going to tell you can't. Telling you. Now, people will hear that and laugh and joke and, you're dramatic. Okay, I guess. I keep seeing this stuff happen. I keep seeing all of this stuff coming to fruition. All the crazy people, all this stuff coming to fruition. And regardless of what I say about Alex Jones, because you know Alex Jones, you know how I feel about it. Alex Jones originally came from a very good place, and whatever. He went and got the bag. It is what it is. And what is he supposed to do? I mean, at this point, he's done everything that he could. He told everybody what they needed to hear. So whatever. I mean, go get your bag at this point. But my point in bringing that back up is this. At the end of the day, they could literally record something and put it on the screen in front of you. It doesn't matter. They already know that there's still going to be 60 to 70% of people more that are still going to find ways to deny whatever they saw. So it doesn't matter. And then here's the last thing, and I promise you I'm done. When you ask me how, James, I've said this on a lot of our pods, G. People do not take enough heed to understanding what raising new generations really means. You don't have to do hard work at all when you raise a whole new generation to think how you want them to think. Why do you think Gen X thinks the way that they think? Gen Z thinks the way that they think about all the stuff that we're raising our eyebrows to. It's because they've been raised under that normal umbrella. That's normal to them. There is they looking at us like the same way we used to look at our parents. You old motherfucker, shut up. You don't understand nothing. You talking silly, blase. Oh, you homophobe. Oh, you hate this because you questioning this. You all the terms and the buzzwords that just got created over the past 10 years, all of a sudden now have impactful meanings to them. And that's what they label you as, right? So when you ask me the question about normalizing the stuff that they're normalizing, well, gee, if you think Gen Z is bad, what you think the next generation going to be raised under? What you think principles the next gen going to be raised under? Seriously. Because that's where it's going to get interesting at. When we're in our 40s and 50s and the other generation is now coming into where Gen Z is at now. And Gen Z not even on the same page. You know why? Because they're going to be the ones who usher in the transhumanism. They're going to be a little Gen Z too. They're going to be the ones who are getting down with they're already setting it up. I can see it. The humans and animals becoming like humans and robots too. I mean, it's going to get wonky out here. We already know that. I mean, you can only get wonkier when you already are getting wonky. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's only going to evolve to become more different.
Yeah.
To say it nicely, so how? Well, you just birth a new generation. That's how. They're going to be the ones to raise them anyway.
But at some point, you have to say, No, at
Ain't,
some point, no,
ain't
James,
no
at
some
some
point.
no, there has to be a moment where you say it's a here's a clone. They just never disclose it. They just keep leaking them out there and then never.
Gee, you already got movies where they trying to make us feel sentimental toward the robots, man, and AI. What you talking about, bro?
I'm
They
talking about
want you to
clone. I'm talking about human clones
it's going to
specifically.
be the same thing. If they want you to feel sentimental toward AI from the movie Her and all these other movies where you feel, oh man, I feel so bad for the robot, and you start to get feelings for that. What you think they're going to do they're going to do the same thing. People are going to come out. They're going to have advocates for them, just like they got advocates and allies for the people they got allies for now. It's the same thing. They're
Okay,
training and teaching people how to
you're
become
not.
allies.
I got you, but I'm saying you're taking what I'm saying not the way I'm trying to get you to take it.
Oh, okay. What are you saying?
At what moment, like literally, on a more literal, practical level, okay, they have advocates. Okay, these clones have advocates. At what point did they say we've cloned people for them to have advocates? At
Oh,
what point does that
I don't
press
know.
release come out?
Oh,
At what point do they make it public what we already know?
I, I don't know that. I mean, who knows?
And how do they do that? That's what I'm actually getting at. You went
Yeah,
on a
I
different
mean,
tangent there.
it. I mean, because I almost can't wait for it to happen at this point. But I mean, look, I don't know, G. I mean, I don't have time frames to things. I mean, if we knew, then we would be billionaires because we would be ahead of everything. But I don't know. I don't know how. I think yeah, I see what you're doing. It's fun to maybe dive into that and do some deep dives on that and come up with some predictions and stuff. I don't
Because you
know, bro.
can't, there's no way to normalize it without that moment of admitting that it's a real thing. That's what I'm alluding to. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, you're right. Once they've done that, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, everything
Yeah.
that you said is right. Once they've publicized it, they can't do all the shit you're talking about until it's made public.
So there's usually a cadence or a script to how they do things. So I'm sure if I take time to go
Do
and
you
see
That's
how
what I'm saying, James. Do you think this Damar Hamlin incident is that event?
for the clone thing.
Because you're saying that
Uh,
they're layering these events, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean,
what if
look,
the
look, look,
end
look,
game
look,
here
look,
is to
look, look,
say
look.
clones
You're
are real? Do you think that's
maybe.
I mean, I don't personally believe that that's what's going on here, but
I don't either. I
it
don't think
could
they're there.
be.
I don't think they're there yet. But
Yeah.
but the Island Boys did come out, and some of these other weirdo rappers did come out and say that they're clones. So it could be. Could be. Now the thing is, they come out and say it, and then everybody thinks they're just joking or trying to get clicks and likes. And the whole time
Right.
I'm over here like, this nigga
Yeah.
probably this nigga.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, he's actually telling you. See, that's the beautiful thing about In Plain Sight. It
Right.
actually is legit. It's such an intriguing
I
study
mean, they
because
put
it's
stuff
so
on
legit
billboards before, right?
all the time.
Illuminati shit is on
All the
billboards
time,
all
all
over
the
the place.
time. It's
Yeah.
everywhere. It's on your
Yeah.
dollar bill.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know.
I mean, so it's a great question to ponder and think about. Though I don't know when that will be,
Yeah,
but
I'm just curious
I,
about that moment of like when do they
but
admit it
if I was
so
a
that they can normalize it
if I was a
the way that they
researcher,
normalize everything else.
sometimes I'd be wanting to go get my PhD so I could just spend the rest of my life just researching and getting paid to research because that's all the motherfuckers do is research and write dissertations and papers and stuff. But if I could just research, it would be nice to see the cadence in the history of how some of the other things that I would consider to be unthinkable or we consider to be unthinkable at the time, like back in the day, it happened the moment that Obama got in office. So that's one thing that I would look at with that. So when you ask me the question about the clones, I'll put it to you this way. When they get in office and start writing bills and policies that align with that, because let me tell you something, people don't understand what Obama's job was, why they even let him in office. Obama's job was very simple.
Christianity has done fucked up shit in this world, and as somebody that aligns with the indigenous, trust me, I get it. But there are still good Christians out there, and you can't just automatically reject anybody who has Christian worldview. That could still be a good person that just sees the world differently than you.
Yeah, of course.
There's a lot of disagreement within the Christian community, so just to hate Christians as if they're some uniform. They don't all see the world the same way. Some of them are pro-gay. Some of them are super fucking Southern Baptist. There's a wide spectrum there as well. So, it's just love and respect goes a long way, regardless of which agenda you subscribe to or whatever.
And my whole thing, going back to the Obama thing, it's whatever. My whole point in bringing that up was saying, when we start to see, going back to your clone thing, when we start to see, there's just certain things that you'll start to see, G. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the answer for it yet, and I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's coming. It's already here. When it's introduced to us, I don't know. And how? I don't know either. Maybe they'll make him a superhero, come save the day, and then, who knows? I got some ideas if y'all want to hit me up, though, and ask me how we can roll it out, But we'll see. It'll be interesting because
one of my coworkers, I saved this for last. We're going to end this conversation after this, but believe it or not, James, security guard at work comes up to me today, says, man, I forget exactly how she worded it, but she said something about, and that wasn't really Damar Hamlin. And I was like, what? She said, no, that won't Damar Hamlin. I said, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist? Trying to play the game, you got to use reverse psychology on people sometimes. There was a little bit of banter back and forth, trying to joke, and I was like, I just started smiling. She was like, oh, no, for real, I got something to show you. Like, she was going to show me something on her phone. I just started smiling. I said, I already know. I'm 80 steps ahead. She started laughing. She was like, oh, shit, I feel like I'm on the moon already. She said, if you're 80 steps ahead, I'm on the moon. I said, I said, how about this? What's your phone number? And I sent her a link to one of our podcasts. I think she's going to find out who's really on the moon.
Oh, man. I love when I tell people about this pod and they just, I mean, I love it because I know that because
we talk about interesting things that these people are thinking about. And they want somebody to talk to about it, but they're scared to talk about it because there's in the comments all the time. It's just saying the wrong thing to the wrong person. There's real implications.
I be seeing
in the comments the wrong thing to the wrong person.
I be seeing it in the comments all the time. I slide right in their DMs if it's open, and I just send them a link. I'm like, yo, go check this out. You seem like you, based on your likes, you seem like you want a place where you can, kind of clear your, kind of comb through your thoughts on.
Right.
It's you see it, you see the other side too. But
bro, listen to this. I know this is the internet. 162 subscribers, 6,000, almost 7,000 views. That is piddly squat for the internet. But what I think anybody that's listening to this needs to understand is James and I look up on the internet, Middlesex, Virginia. Okay, we graduated from the class of 2007 at Middlesex High School. 119 of us broke the record by a lot. We smashed the record by having the most kids graduate from a class, and we were 119. I've got 162 subscribers on YouTube. I've already won. I've got more subscribers than we graduated with at MHS, and it's only going to go up from here.
Good point.
I'm already a winner, man. Listen, this pod has already done more. It's already exceeded all of my expectations. So at this point, I'm just having fun with it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, me too. Me
This
too.
was a fun conversation. I don't
I
think we actually had any conclusions. I don't think we
no.
came to any.
Say, look.
We didn't figure anything out.
You're not
But
going.
we had a fun conversation.
We had a great conversation. So you're not going to have conclusions sometimes. This
Right.
this stuff is ongoing, very ongoing. Okay,
Very
it's
ongoing.
like very ongoing. I mean, and G, as you know, sometimes, man, I be having moments where I just try not to even be into it, bro, because I just don't have time, and it's so exhausting, and my mind changes about like how I'm even what I feel like about. But then there are some times where I'm like, gee, I got to talk to you, bro. Like I got to get this off my. I got.
I got to talk to somebody who doesn't think I'm crazy for thinking this shit.
I can't be walking around the shed talking to myself all day. All right, I got to talk to somebody now. Goddamn, you're not gonna have me thinking like, damn, I just spent all these hours talking to myself about this shit. No, but seriously, I mean, people, as always, I like to remind people. This is not to incite riot or hate or shell out.
I ain't got hate for nobody.
Energy.
I love
exactly. All G does is promote and talk about love. And all I like to do. I
got love for them, man. I know their mind is very fucked up, man. They're very diseased people. They're very enthralled. I don't know if enthralled is the right word, but they are very they're scared. They're incredibly they're scared to their essence is fear. Everything that they believe is based in I'm scared of Mother Nature, I'm scared of God, I'm scared of other people, I'm scared of myself ultimately. So like I have empathy for even them, even the most quote unquote evil people in the world. Like at the end of the day, I'm focused on like loving myself, trying to be real with myself, trying to make myself as healthy as possible, trying to make my life as fun and as interesting and as worth living as possible to fulfill my purpose, however I may define that in any given moment, because that can change obviously from moment to moment. You know, obviously I think there's certain higher level purposes, you know, as a father, that's always on the back of my mind, but there are other purposes, you know. I feel like at least, you know, it's hard to put into words sometimes, but you know, one of my purposes I feel is to spread certain little sayings, like the saying I said earlier about, you know, the most simplest breakdown comparing indigenous culture to European, or it's not. I think European is actually not even 100% accurate because it's most of the world at this point. You could call it colonizing culture or civilized, which civilized is such a deception word anyway, because it makes you sound like you're peaceful and civilized, right? But your genocide didn't take place in indigenous culture. Yes, you had wars with other tribes, but you never, it was literally like an unwritten rule. You're not allowed to wipe them out.
Yeah. All right.
You know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah. We, you know, another, and to finish that thought before I move right on to the next one, that saying was, you know, the premise behind the colonizer story is that the world belongs to man, and the premise behind the indigenous story or the indigenous mythologies is that man belongs to the world, right? Like think about this: a gazelle and a lion are not enemies. A lion doesn't hunt gazelle because they hate gazelle. Lions hunt gazelle to satisfy their hunger. They don't wipe out gazelles. If you wipe out the gazelles, you have nothing to eat.
Right.
So it's this, yes, you're allowed to compete in nature, right? You see these animals that compete, or other tribes in nature before the colonizing mentality took over the whole world and fucked everything up. Yeah, you're allowed to compete, but you can't wipe each other out. You can't wipe each other's food supply out. And you can't wipe out, you can't take over areas to basically, you can't wipe out their food supply.
Right, of course.
Right. So when you think about it like an agriculture or a hunter-gatherer, you compete up to the extent that you're still allowing them to exist.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And anyways, I went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but these are just things that I think about when it comes to like my purpose. And I think everybody has their own purpose that they should be living. They shouldn't be like, I don't know. Feel like everybody, all of us can get caught in the 9 to 5, corporate bullshit sometimes. And like that's boring, I think the
Terrible.
most
It's
it to
terrible.
me, I guess I say all of that to say this. To me, the greatest feeling in life is sharing, not necessarily talking, but happens most of the time by talking because we are language-based creatures, but not necessarily just talking, sharing an interesting or fun experience with somebody else is so fulfilling to me. That's why I like talking to you. It's why I like doing this podcast. It's why I like saying and doing all the things I've already said. But
Mm-hmm.
that to me just sums it all up, man. It's like
Definitely.
having and sharing interesting and fun experiences and conversations. That says everything and does everything for me.
Yeah. 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 I agree with you on that. And I love doing these. And, this one just, like I said, I just wanted to talk. And here we are. So,
Yeah, we were all over the place, but I think at the end of the day, it was a good one.
yeah.
All right, bro. This was a
All
good
right.
conversation either
It
way.
was, though. It was. Absolutely.
Love
Always,
you,
brother.
man.
Good seeing you, man. Love
Peace.
you too, man. Be easy.
What's up, Internet? We're back to finish up a podcast we had started on. We'll call it the Damar Hamlin podcast for lack of a better title for now. I'm going to have a better title for the algorithms. But basically, this whole thing started. James texted me Tuesday, January the 24th, a tweet about it seems odd Damar Hamlin won't show his face. It had the video of him on the gator or, golf cart type thing going into the stadium, never showing his face. Then he tweets out the clone tweet, which I post on the podcast. I'll even post it now. Pretty much every time we brought it up, I put the picture on the overlay since I figured out how to do picture in picture. But basically, I was like, yeah, let's pod. And you said, man, I want to dig on it more. And it's like, we don't really have to dig necessarily. We can talk it out. Like, for real, the whole purpose of this is that we don't have to be experts on things. It's just questioning why is there this energy out there that even resists anybody questioning anything? I'm not even drawing any conclusions. I'm just asking questions. And you're like, gee, this is wild, blah, blah, blah. So we talked about it a lot on the podcast. Right after the pod was done, I was like, that's too good, man. We got to publicize it. I'll chop the stuff up that you don't want in there, And you said, sounds good. I'm telling you a little bit about the editing. Then, right before I publish it, Hamlin comes out, a special message from our guy, Damar Hamlin, just like I predicted in part one. I don't want to say just like I predicted, but the
You
perception
threw it out
is
there.
just the perception is exactly the way I predicted because perception, as you know, James, means everything. And so, just like I said, this feels like it's too obvious. Like they're just trying to troll people like you and me, but you for sure. And and here he comes out. Every the perception is he's all good. Oh, that'll shut the conspiracy. If you read the comments, it's hilarious. That'll shut these conspiracy theorists up. Blah blah blah. It's like, why should it shut us up? Is that not is that not a possible deep fake with deep fake technology? I mean, just Google Tom Cruise or Morgan Freeman deep fake and tell me that technology isn't crisp. And then, obviously there's the idea of the clone, which we talked about in the first episode. So just your thoughts on that. And then one other thing that I wanted to cover in this part two, which is, I don't want it to be super long, as you know, is the Arian Foster coming out and basically, again, mocking the truth. They're taking the truth and instead of denying it as they have in the past, this is a different strategy where they take it and exaggerate it to an unbelievable point to where it's basically just mocking anybody who questions these ideas.
Absolutely. And it's actually a technique that's been used for a long time. Now, I haven't seen it used to that effect before, but I bookmarked a few things. I just want to show this here because if you listen to the original pod that G will eventually post, it's in line for the critics who are going to point and say, "See, we told you," but also more importantly, um, the rebuttal of, hey, even when you even when it's proof that everything is okay, you'll still harp on it. I just want to show a couple things here, just as an example. I don't know if you can hear the audio right now.
Yeah, no, that's the Morgan Freeman deepfake, right?
I know, but people need to see it sometimes because it's easy to say it. And
yeah, no, I mean, it looks great. We can't really hear the audio, but the audio, put it up against.
Can't hear the audio. Okay. Okay.
Because the audio is coming from your mouthpiece, so you need to have it closer to your mouthpiece for us to hear it, I think. But it's not.
Okay.
It's not even that important. Not even that important because the point is, if anybody's actually interested, they can go look it up themselves. It's not that hard to type in Morgan Freeman deepfake video.
Very true. Very true. It goes exactly with the words, the lips, everything. My point in bringing this up is, and I've said this many a times before on the pod, we're at a point with technology and with how they use and weaponize certain elements of AI, deepfake, and all of these things that we say a lot, but I still think people won't go actually check out sometimes. Some will, of course, but some won't. And my point is that it's so advanced. It's so in line and in sync with whatever you're hearing, the lips, the mouth. Obviously, there's certain very, very niche
I've been given human vibration a little bit of flack for her opinion on the vaccine, but this is where she's 100% on point. Like the deep fake, the CGI, the illusionary that they cast with colors and all of it. I mean, it's magic.
It is magic, and that's the thing. And I don't.
They're master illusionists.
Right now, you see me. Right, I always go back to that. Because that movie is a great analogy of that, and representation of that. But it's wild that we are in a time in which it doesn't matter that you saw something. It doesn't matter that there's a video of something circling around or that you think you heard something. It does not matter.
If technology is the medium, then there's something that could have been tweaked to make you perceive it as such.
All the time. So these questions that are being asked are still very warranted. Is my point in that. That's just two examples. That's let's not even get into.
We don't have to. We can honestly, exactly. James, we can end it right here because I think we said everything else in part one. And I said, I don't even need this part two to be very long at all. Like I said, we've already covered everything I wanted to cover on that. I do want to touch on the Arian Foster thing, though.
Right. Okay. But before you get to that, the reason why we're doing this part two is because G knew that I was hesitant to release the first because of the backlash. This, see you guys that, which I don't care about that normally, but for certain things, it's easy to add fuel to the fire of here, conspiracy this, conspiracy that, and here they go again, and here this goes again. And I like to try to remind folks that take that part out of it and just focus on the different elements that we're bringing to the table that you can indeed yourself research. I don't care where you stand it on the Hamlin thing, just research the deep fake. If that's all you get out of all of this and it allows you to go research that. And
even if you come to conclude that this wasn't a deep fake, it would still, it's still worth your time.
At least you now know what that is. And when these false flags, which
same with cloning, because there could be even within the conspiracy community, it's like, okay, well, is it a clone or is this CGI / deepfake stuff going on here?
I mean, these days it's hard to tell, and we know that we're in a time where you can't really tell. But the point is, as long as you know that it exists, ask the question. But as long as you know that it exists, long as you know what it is, how it relates to CGI, deepfake, the purples, everything that we've talked about that's starting to come back full circle, we're happy with. It's getting things out there and allowing people to understand what's going on out here, what exists, and how things can come to be. So that's really the big part of that. G talked me back into letting that original one release. And like he said, we didn't say anything regardless of what it was or what it is, whether if that was
I have no conclusions. I have no conclusions. And we even say at the end,
that's true,
it's not about having a conclusion. It's very ongoing. You literally said those exact words. And that's true. I know you were worried about it, but when I went back and listened to it, it was like, we're not, there's no hate. Number one, I have hate for nobody. Just ask the question. Just ask, why is there hate toward people asking questions? That's the question I have. That's one of the biggest questions I have.
That's the question. Yeah. All right. And I love that you brought that up, because it's the same question that I would just typically ask while strolling through the comments on something that I feel warrants a critical thinking question. Bottom line, and that did. Come on now, it did. And when you get to a certain level of understanding the numerology, signs and symbols and different things, we all know that this can be quickly turned into this. And
one quick note on that. One quick note on that. People who deny that they use numerology. Today is February 5th. We recorded the first part, I think, on the January 24th.
Did they use numerology? I didn't know people did that.
Well, if anybody was out there still denying that they use numerology, on February 3rd, 23, they were calling that Jordan Day, and it was 23 Day all over ESPN all day long. So there's that. But the only other thing I wanted to cover before we wrapped up this part
all day long.
The only other thing I wanted to cover before we wrapped up this part 2 was the whole Arian Foster thing, where he took the whole NFL is scripted idea to the extreme, to an exaggerated point, to basically mock it. I mean, they're mocking the truth. That's one way to get people to ignore the truth or to not look into something. It's another strategy to have people just ignore it.
But as we know, it is a practice in plain sight. It falls under the umbrella of in plain sight still. You can still tell the truth, and it caused the fury that not fury, but it goes viral as it did, and it still be some truth behind it. Two things can be true. It may not be exactly as described, or it may be exactly how it's described.
No, it wasn't exactly as described. It was not exactly as he described it. No, because it's exactly like one thing I said, James. How are there so many people that exist in this whole thing? This whole thing is scripted. It's not just like the NFL is scripted, just like you were talking about. The whole thing is scripted, and there's so many people in reality that don't realize how scripted reality is. So it's totally possible that the majority of NFL players don't realize how scripted the NFL is. Totally possible. Most people don't realize how scripted reality is. So why should NFL players understand how scripted their own league is?
But you don't need 100% of it.
No, you only need a couple, really. You only need a few.
WWE get scripts. I mean, these people get scripts. They get in the role. They play their characters, and some of them have played their characters so good for so long that all these other little ones that come and go or play their role and don't even realize that they're playing their role in a sense. That doesn't matter. All you need is the main characters. Is my point. It could still be very similar. Look. As we learn through the years, they actually don't lie.
No.
Okay, remember that. I say that all the time. Fine. I just think that it's easy for it to go and turn into, oh, you know what a lot of people said in the comments that I was trying to figure out where was this coming from, when they were saying it's clear and evident that he was being sarcastic. There's nothing in that video, if you pay attention to it, that seemed sarcastic to me. He was making a comment. He was very calm, cool, and collective about how he was delivering that message too.
Yeah, no, but I think he was trolling, James. I think that he was exaggerating. I don't think most NFL players understand that even their own role is often scripted. And scripted isn't the right word, because it's just like I said, the best analogy is the analogy of reality is scripted, and most people don't see that. So why should we expect the NFL players to see that their own role in their league is scripted? And scripted isn't exactly the best word. It's like I
think it's a good word. I personally
but there's still some choices. There's still some choices going on. There's still agreements that you can make, or not.
Agreements to play your role. Agreements to go along with the script,
or not.
You can agree to do that,
or not, and that might be
or not. But but or
There's
not.
something.
But
There's something to having choice.
Or not comes without that contract. I'm sure nothing is going to get
Eventually,
disseminated until a contract is
I agree.
right.
I agree. I know.
And not only that, I want to give an example as somebody who follows a very dysfunctional organization, Washington, as much as I do. You know, I've almost used them as a case study of how to not run a business or how to not lead, blase blase. There has been some things even since the new president has come in with the organization, Jason Wright, and there's been still some snafus and some gaffes where I've literally sit back and I've been on the phone with my cousin, who we both follow that team, and I've said to myself, it's almost as if I can't believe this sort of stuff still happens under a professional organization. I found myself saying it's almost as if they get a script. This was well before all of this script stuff. I said it so many times. I would say it's almost as if they get a script that they have to be so inept, so discombobulated. So it's almost like they're trolling us. That a professional organization can just continue to do that, get feedback from their fans about how bad it always is, and continue to be that bad without anything getting fixed. So my point is, it's almost like, and that's just an example, right? Obviously, a small one. But my point is, it's like these identities. You hear them say that all the time. You know, a team and an organization has an identity. And it's like these sort of identities can be created at the top and funnel down to the bottom. And you could be a cog in a scheme and not even know. You could be a cog in a scheme and not even know it, you know?
Right.
And that's when I go back to what Arian said. It's like, what was over exaggerated about what he said? Did people need to hear him say, okay, not 100%, but maybe 34.3%? I'm trying to figure out.
I don't know, James. I don't know. I disagree with you. I disagree with you on this one. It seemed like he was being sarcastic. They're not. It's just based on the fact that he said that people literally give them a script and they're rehearsing the script in practice. That's not what's going on. If that was going on, many more people would have talked by now. Like we said, only a few people actually need to really know about the script. You know what I'm saying? Like there is a script.
String, exactly. Okay, G. So you just said that. I don't think your third
but I'm saying,
tackle.
No, I'm saying Arian Foster, no running backs are getting it. No running backs are getting the script. No, I'm telling you, something was off about it. I might even cut a lot of this since we started talking about Arian Foster thing, because number one, the internet's been fucking up. Number two, both of us are unorganized here. No. It's absolutely.
What is unorganized about this conversation? It's another conversation that we're
no. You're right you're right to that point. Number one, the internet has been in and out, so it is going to be choppy, even if I have to keep some of it. But number two,
yeah, I don't know why it is today.
It's all good. Well, I'll make it work. Number two, the main thing is I really think just the way he did it in the podcast that he was on is a mainstream podcast. The fact that it blew up the way it did. Really, this is the clearest sign. The fact that Sports Illustrated was retweeting it, ESPN was retweeting it, that's the surest sign that it was exaggerated and mocking the truth. And
that is how you bury things. You bury things by giving it okay, Arian said this. We lean into this and give it some fire. There are always going to be people who run with it. There are going to be people who say,
but James, you're right that there might have been kernels of truth in there. I see what you're getting at, but what he said was patently untrue, like false, to the point where it's literally mocking people like us. And that's why I want to caution you from saying that it's that scripted. No, it's not that scripted. It is far from being that scripted. It is far from being that scripted, James. You really think that they could keep it this much of a secret? If there were scripts being handed out for practices,
there really hasn't been.
They are mocking you.
There are other NFL players that have come out and talked about this. Well, it's just not.
It's a mockery. It's a mockery of the fact that those people got keyed into it and they said, "Look, I'm going to start saying some real shit unless y'all pay me." Then they get their bag and they exaggerate the fuck out of the truth.
You can
That's
exaggerate something. You can exaggerate something.
They're exaggerating it to discredit it. There's yes, you're right. There's kernels of truth in there. But what he said was not true. What he said is not true, though, James. That's where you got to be careful. Because it's a mockery. There are kernels of truth in there, yes, but that's how they're mocking it. That when you take it to the extreme of, yeah, there actually is a script at every practice and they're rehearsing the script. Come on, bro. That's the mockery. They want people to say that. They want people to go, oh no, he was actually no, that was a mockery. That is an exaggerated point. Please don't fall for that, bro. Please don't fall for that. Please don't fall for that.
Technically, if as someone who has talked about how rigged the game is, and you know that there has to be a balance of what
there are defensive star players and coaches. I think coaching, officials, and quarterbacks. Yes. 90% of the league, 95% of the league, no.
95%.
I think it's at least 95% don't realize how they at least don't realize the degree to which it is rigged. They're still going out there and performing their best. They're still working for a contract. They're still doing their job. And if they realized the degree to which it was rigged, I don't know that they could do that.
Why? I think people really, I think people really underestimate somebody wanting to work a 9 to 5 or get real money, bro. I really don't think people understand how money plays a role.
You're right on that. You're right, because money's a factor. You're right. Money is the best argument that you've got for your side. But that's the same argument that I can make for why I think a good chunk of it is not fully scripted. It can't be fully scripted for it to work the way it does. They've got to allow some real football to be played so they can determine which players get paid more, which players are going to be their future stars. Like why
you think that's what determines it, or do you think it's actually especially early season games?
Especially early season games, James. The first 8 weeks, I think they're letting them play. That's why I don't bet on the NFL in the first 8 weeks. Because for the most part, don't get me wrong, there's still, I think, scripted games here and there in the first 8 weeks, especially primetime games, stuff like that. But for the most part, I think most games in the first 8 weeks, they're letting them play because they got to figure out which players are going to be their stars for the rest of the season. They got to figure out which storylines they want to go with, and then they got to have backup storylines in case these certain players get hurt. It's the balancing act. It's another balancing act. Half of it has got to be organic so that they can determine how they want to fix the other half.
Of course, but that should be once again. I don't know why things have to be so exact though. Arian Foster could still be very accurate with basically what he said and still not cover 100%.
I guess I'm not getting you off of that because Arian Foster to me is mocking the truth. He's mocking the truth. Look at research the sponsors of that podcast, James. Just telling you. I'm just telling you, it's a mockery.
People are all in on it. Even if it was a mockery, it's still in plain sight, though. It's still
You're right that there's kernels of truth in there, but 95% of people don't have the critical thinking skills to pluck out the truth from the exaggeration. And that's what I like to do. Yeah. That's what I like to talk about, because I think you're buying into the bullshit a little too much on this one, where the truth is actually much smaller. There was barely any truth in what he said. He was mocking the truth. In order to mock the truth, you have to have some little bit of truth in there. Yeah, of course.
Mocking the truth is but
99% of what he said was mockery.
Mocking, regardless of if he was mocking it or not, mocking the truth in something that you yourself have admitted and said has to be. You know what it is, G, with professional sports. So my thing is, even if he was mocking, he's still telling people.
James, we were talking to the guy that we did a fucking podcast called Coincidence.
So I don't understand how this isn't one of those instances where you're like,
because there's still debate.
You see what he's doing.
And I even brought it up in the podcast with Brian. I asked it. That was one of the questions I asked him. I said, to what degree do you think it is organic? That's still a discussion that can be had. And you're talking about the way that you're talking. You're saying that it's
100 or somewhere between 90
I
and
didn't say 100.
scripted?
No. I've continued to
It's
say
nowhere
I didn't
near
say
that,
anything
dude.
about it. I didn't say 100. But why is the
Arian Foster did?
Why is the what
Arian Foster said it was 100% scripted.
He did not say that.
He basically said that. Listen to what he said.
He basically
he was implying that it was 100% scripted.
He gave a blanketed statement, but my thing is,
exactly.
once again, why are we focusing on the blanket statement versus the fact that we know that there has to be scripts here? There has to be people that are in agreement with certain things, going along with certain things. What the blanketed statement is the distraction. And if you say that, okay, he leaned into because he's saying that it's 100%, he technically didn't say that. I don't know why you're saying that he said that.
He implied that. He implied that. He said that everything was scripted to the degree of that's what they were rehearsing at practice. That is implying that the whole thing is
I don't know why that sort of statement is so flabbergasting to you. I don't understand. If you make the 53-man roster, the roster starts out at 100 people. If you make the 53-man roster, that means you got what? That means you got a contract, right?
But the practices themselves are not scripted. They are not rehearsals. Jay, are you serious?
You are literally going over a game plan that offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators that we've already heard in the past years, they have a way of knowing their own offensive game plans and defensive game plans, which is how they can manipulate it along with the referees. So how do you don't have to know that something's happening if you are part of a game plan. A game plan is saying that when I play Madden and I want to run a boot action, that everybody on my offense is going to run a boot action regardless. Everybody on the defensive side is going to play whatever defensive scheme they want to run against that.
We're not.
You don't have to know. You don't have to know if you're being controlled by a coordinator. You don't have to know that, oh, I'm being told to run a prevent defense with 2 minutes left in the game and we're down 3 points, and just let the offense walksy up the field and wonder, why did that defensive coordinator have that whole defense in a prevent defense with 2 minutes left at the end of the game?
James. You're looking too much into
Oh my God, G. We will not agree on this at all, bro.
We're not agreeing on this one, bro.
All, man.
There are moments. There are
That's
key
insane
moments.
to me that you don't even get that point right there. You don't have to know, oh, I'm being told to play a prevent defense with 2 minutes left when knowing good goddamn well.
In the game, you're right.
Okay, that's a script. The game plan
that is not. That is different. You are talking about two different scenarios. I brought up practice. You're bringing up a prevent defense in the most crucial moment of the game.
You still got to practice the game plan. You still got to practice the game plan, right? I love this though, because we're not agreeing with something that we're talking about. This is good. No, I love this.
I do like this.
But I don't see.
You go back and listen to the Brian podcast. I was on Brian. I want to say I was on Brian. I felt like he was in more agreement with me than you on this.
I bet you Brian would agree.
No,
with me.
I think he agrees with me more than you on this. Because he even said it's not about how scripted it is. You don't need everybody buying in. It doesn't need to be as scripted as the WWE.
Gee, that's what I'm saying. Why?
No, that's not what you're saying. You're saying that they rehearse the script at practice. Practices are as organic as it gets, in my opinion. In my opinion, the coaches may still listen. I don't know. But I'm saying there is a lot more of an organic element to this whole thing than what you're giving it credit for.
I'm actually saying,
yes, it's fixed at the top level. When they need something to happen their way, it will happen their way. Yes, true.
Explain to me what a game plan is.
They are only gonna listen. They want as few people, employees of the NFL, they want as few of them to be in on it as possible. The more that are in on it, the more it breaks down. They don't want it breaking down. So really, it's I would say 95% of the players, maybe at some point in their career, they come to realize that, like you said, man, why am I playing a prevent defense in 2 minutes to go? These are the types of things that happen that make the players question it. Sure, I'm sure that happens. But up until that point, they really thought the whole thing was organic. They're not getting scripts.
It doesn't matter.
Arian Foster is mocking the truth. Okay, that's where I'm at. That's my conclusion on that.
That's your conclusion. My conclusion is it's
He's
another
exaggerating it to a degree that the fact that you're buying it, James, is a discredit
the fact that you think that I'm
the truther,
the fact that you
to discerning truth.
The fact that you think I'm buying into something at all here is asinine. G, tell me what a game plan is.
As far as 95%,
what is a game plan, G?
It's planning for the game.
It's a script, basically. Well, you have scripted your game plan.
Not necessarily. What? No, I would say most game plans are not scripts. Most game plans are not scripts. Maybe if you're a damn good team, if you're the Eagles of this year or the 2007 Patriots, maybe you can go in with a script and run that shit the whole game and play your game. But most game plans are about reacting to what the other team's tendencies. It's about film study. There is an organic aspect to this. They have to do their job still. The people who are fixing it have to see who is going to organically buy in, who's going to work so hard that they can, when they get to that point of, okay, now here's your bag, but here's the terms and conditions, right? And you've worked this hard to get here. You don't want to spoil it. You don't want to fuck all this up, Antonio Brown. You better do what we tell you to do, right? Or your shit's going to get real fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
Antonio Brown could have been a part of the game plan and the script and not know anything until that moment, like you just said, and still be very much so a part of it. It's a game plan. He's being told to run a dig. He's being told to run an option route. He's being told to do this against this defense and this against that defense. If the offensive coordinator, if we know that you already said with your own mouth, the coaches are in on it. So if we know that for an offensive coordinator to get his head coaching position, which some of them don't even deserve, but they still get it, I'm pretty sure deals and certain things have been made, plays have been called. You have watched many a games, G, where you've been like, why in the hell did they just do that? Why would you do that? We on the couch can see that shouldn't have been done. Why did Scott Turner just do that in this game plan? Why did this just happen against this defense? Why in this Super Bowl or this playoff game are they in this critical moment running a pretty good defense against
I'll give you this. You have been keyed in on the Washington football team for the majority of your life. So I can see why you feel it is as scripted as you feel it is, because that particular organization
doesn't have anything to do with that.
No, because that particular organization feels more scripted than any of them. Like you said, it's like scripted.
Yes, all the bottom feeders
dysfunction, right? So yeah, I can understand why you feel the way you do, but there's still an organic aspect to all this, James. There has to be, in order for them to determine who gets paid what. If it was as fixed as you think it is, then how come everybody's just not getting paid the same amount? There are people who play their role better than others.
That's
organically
not
or not.
There are role players here. If you go in a movie in Hollywood, Leonardo DiCaprio is going to get paid the most money. Somebody who pops his head in there to play his role, in a scene, is not going to get Leonardo DiCaprio money. He's still part of the script.
Of course, James. Of course, you're not saying what led to the point. To keep this analogy, what led to Leonardo being the star and a role player being a role player, or a role actor being a role actor? Because along the way, in the underground, whatever you want to call that, Leonardo was a better actor organically. And so then he became the star. You see what I'm saying? There's an organic something that led to Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes or whatever being the star.
Of course, no matter how good they are, though, if they don't agree, they're not going to be in that position.
Of course, I'm with you there once they make those agreements. But what led to them even being in that position to have that opportunity to make those agreements?
You still got to be. They're talent. They're talent.
Of course. That's what I want to get.
That has nothing to do with what Arian is. With what Arian disseminated to everyone.
But what Arian is disseminating is still a mockery and an exaggeration, man. I still don't see how you can't see that. Like, not Most of the players aren't there. The practices aren't where they're rehearsing for the game. There's not, I don't think there's even I would say even part of the Super Bowl will even be organic. That even the Super Bowl, even something as important as the Super Bowl to them, they're gonna leave some plays up to chance. It's just a part of how they operate, man. There has to be something. It's like, have you ever seen angels in the outfield? Have you ever seen angels in the outfield? Some things they can't touch. There's some truth in that. There's some things they have to leave. I
don't know why you're harping on that so much. That's where I'm confused at. There's always going to be some stuff left up to chance. Even in the WWE, if somebody get hit with a chair in their head, they may bleed. That's probably real blood. That's fine. Okay, good. There, of course, things are left up to chance. That does not mean that the defensive game plan and the offensive game plans aren't vetted very well to hope a specific outcome plays out. With certain actors that are very good at acting, Leonardo DiCaprio-esque, Patrick Mahomes, the Aaron Rodgers, they can make every throw. The lead actor, they're still a writer and a director to the script. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, regardless. And this is someone who doesn't even want to admit to this day, even though I know it, I don't like talking about it because I love the game of football. I come on here all the time and say, one of our most popular pods was one where we talked about the topic that I personally don't like talking about. I don't like talking about that. I love the game of football. I love what it does for people's lives and families. I also know the negative side of certain things too, with the concussion issues and many other things. I understand all of that. Still, it's entertaining, and even the NFL itself is listed under an entertainment industry. It's not even listed as a sports.
I get that. I get all that.
It's an entertainment entity. I don't see how somebody needs to be, and this maybe go back to the same reason why people will scoff at the stuff that Ye says. People need to maybe say it better. And even if Arian Foster was coming from a place of being disingenuous, at the end of the day, he said right there what happened in Houston. He said they needed everybody out of Houston. I don't see how that's so hard to wrap your head around when we look at what happens with some of these organizations sometimes, especially the ones that stay in this cycle almost, so to speak. Okay, G. It was a healthy discussion. You will look at the Super Bowl Sunday and you will point at 10 things that don't make sense to you, but still say, I guess,
for sure,
you'll have that opinion on it.
No. I think James, I think you're.
Oh God,
yes,
here they
but
go
you're
again.
taking. Okay, yeah, but you're taking what I'm saying a little too. You're exaggerating it to the extreme of you think I think that I'm getting the vibe that you think I think it's more organic than I think it is. Don't get me wrong.
But I don't want you to get the vibe that I think that it's same for me though. Don't think that I think that what he's saying elements to people on the practice squad too. Of course, I'm not saying that at all. You don't even have to have these motherfuckers know anything if the whole sport is based on game plans. That's my point. It's very easy to wrap my head around, for me at least. I'm just speaking for myself. Oh, they practice game plans on Wednesday. Wednesday is when practice starts. They practice the game plan for the week. I don't need my second string person to know exactly. I need you to be ready to get in there if my dude breaks his leg, but you don't need to know what we know. You don't need to know what Pat Mahomes knows. You don't need to know that. Why would he need to know that when his job is to go off of the game plan? He has concepts that he studied his whole life. If you see somebody in the 3 technique, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, you need to do. They don't need to be told anything to still do their job and do it well and get their money. They're all playing for a better contract. Remember now, they're all going to play their asses off, So I understand. So I'm just saying, don't think that I'm over here saying like, oh, just because Arian made this statement, which for some reason, I still don't get this part, but for some reason seemed like he was mocking to people. I think he just made a statement. If you could go back and look at how he was talking too, he was like, he was talking as almost if it was like, I ain't even worried about nothing here. I'm just saying what's up. Something that other people have said too, but have kind of been scoffed at because they've been like.
I did listen to it, by the way. I heard it. I did not come to the same conclusion that you did. Just because he's calm and all that. He's an actor, right? I mean, if he is keyed in, right, which I think he is, in order for him to even be saying this, then that means he's a good actor. Well, I mean,
there's been others who have said it too that are not Keaton at all, and they don't get this much recognition, of course.
Exactly. So there's something going on there. I mean, Larry Johnson, we talked about him a little bit, and I might have my own thoughts on him, but he has said the same things, and a lot. Don't get me wrong about what I said in part one. I do agree with him a lot of times. I think he exaggerates sometimes too, but I mean,
I think we're talking about topics that when we don't know 100% of the truth to it, it's so wild that we can think it's exaggeration, and it may be, but I also like to counter back and just say, I think we're dealing with things that we can't truly wrap our heads around to begin with. So of course we're going to assume and say that, but the other side of that could be just as true as well. G, like you said, it could be just all BS, I guess, but hey, we've got our opinions about this one. This was fun though, because this was our
it's very ongoing. Like you said, it's very ongoing.
Exactly.
We don't need to come to conclusions. It's just good to talk about.
Exactly.
And to talk to somebody who likes to talk about this type of shit, even if we do disagree to whatever degree we disagree, and agree to whatever degree that we agree. Whatever degree that we agree.
Exactly.
It's just fun to talk. It's just fun to talk about taboo topics
like the taboo topics.
That's what started
this thing to begin
on the whole thing with Brian, right? Taboo topics.
And people, what me and G just did here is exactly what more people need to do: have healthy discussions about things,
not disagreements, respectful
disagreements as well. Absolutely.
I'm not going to be disrespectful to you just because I think you're more on the it's scripted end of things than even me, who is already,
which is funny
compared to the average person. I'm all way on the scripted side.
That's what's so
you're even more than me. That's fucking crazy.
Discussion. But yeah, anyway, I love it. But happy Sunday fun day, brother.
Yeah, man. I'll chop this thing up and cut all the internet bullshit out and make it work.
All right, 10-4. I think it was a good recap, and I like that second part there.
Yeah, it kind of wrapped it up well. Peace, bro. Love you.
All right, love you too, man.
Do you believe in repenting? What if the kingdom of heaven's within you? Do you think you would enter, huh? What do you know, huh? How do you know truth? From the pit of your soul, or just cause somebody told you? Do you think about what you think about? Do you see yourself in the people that you hang around? Keep quiet, let me think aloud. Listen up, wanna break it down. Question your perceptions, I'ma break it down and question your perceptions. Do you ever question your perceptions? Do you ever question it all? Yeah. What if your money was worthless? Then would you know what your worth is and reconsider living with a purpose? How would you determine what work is? Are you seeking what's easy to purchase, or is it deeper than what's on the surface? Do you question your perceptions? Ever so is real, huh? It ain't your politicians, nor your status. All of that is fiction, so it's real, huh? It ain't your entertainment, nor the industry. I heard it's filled with fake shit. I need truth over everything. Yeah. I need truth above all else. Cause I need truth over everything. Yeah, give me the truth, give me the truth, yeah.